don't fucking call me disingenuous when I come here and have this kind of conversation with the actual danger this holds to my reputation, right? Fuck yourself. And if I ever see you in real life, identify yourself to me. That's all I'm saying. Just
Jeez,
identify
dude.
yourself to me. No, fuck you, right? Don't call me fucking disingenuous.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That's one of my favorite clips of Sargon of Akkad. Like, honestly, I think it's personally better than the white niggers comment. But that's just me. All right, so it's kind of hard to get through this because honestly, Sargon released a new video, and I watched it, and it's just I'm not sure. Should I just go through the whole thing, or because I got some other stuff I want to get through, but this one's just the smugness levels on this video would make Stefan Molyneux blush. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, take the smugness of like every single one of these political celebrities. This is just through the roof. And the thing is, he's doing this to mask his own insecurities and delusions. Yeah, it's like, all right. So Silverstein says that we should just rip right into it. All right. Probably gonna bounce between that and some other stuff. Let me just give me a second. Hang on here. Just get the actual thing up. But yeah, we'll watch some of that. We might not watch the entirety of it, but we'll definitely be going through this stuff. We'll definitely going through it. Now, what I've noticed is that Sargon's just tripling down on the whole losing is winning sort of mentality he has right now, where you gotta break it. You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. No one ever did anything right by not trying hard enough, etc. These sorts of retorts, and it's like Squall in the chat says he thinks people being angry over him over damaging Batten's party as living rent free in his head. Yeah, exactly. Like that's the same retort that people who don't have a defense for their actions say. Oh, you're obsessed with me. That's why you're making fun of me. That's the reality. Like these people, like in reality, people who make that claim just don't want someone to say something. In this case, Carl doesn't want people talking about him, and we know that a lot of troll groups happen to also have that same opinion. Just for some reason, really, really weird that. Okay. I do have the video up. I did watch most of it, so honestly though, it's just the smugness on this man is just outstanding. Like the thing is, I get what he's doing because generally speaking, when you make public appearances and stuff like that, you want to maintain composure and you want to present yourself in such a way where you look like you know what you're talking about. The problem for Sargon is he's translated this to mean to act as above it all as possible, but with the level of arrogance he has without the natural charm, what happens as a result is nobody likes him. He goes over the top. He goes far beyond the acceptable limit of what people expect out of such leadership figures, and he enters into realms that are just honestly, I am not doing it justice by explaining it. When I play the video, you'll see for yourself. All right. As soon as I get the video link, which hang on a second, I'll get it. I know where to get it. I'll exactly get it. Okay. And like I said, I don't want to spend I don't want to spend too much time on this because it might be like a 5-part series on Sargon's downfall at this rate instead of a 4-part or a 3-part. So, on the other hand, I honestly wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if we actually did a couple more streams on this.
So,
all right, got the video. Just switch to that. Here he is, our favorite British-sounding home improvement co-host. Let's listen to what Al has to say this time.
So, let me tell you about the 20-year plan. Sorry for...
I just gotta say, I have to say, like, when I heard the 20-year plan thing, I thought it was a joke or a meme or something like that. But Sargon just keeps referencing back to it. Like, in a serious, like in there it was more of a jovial type of a haha 20-year plan sort of thing. Like it's just like taking it on the chin. But in his other video that I played last night, his other response to like his downfall and defeat, because this is the second video he's made on the same topic about how he didn't really lose. He said he referenced the 20-year plan to quote unquote defeat the communists. Like this guy's delusional. Like here's the thing about communists. When you get down to it, communists aren't really the problem. I might be thinking, well, that doesn't make any now, John. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. Why would communists not be the problem? Because you see, communism is horrible. It's a terrible ideology. I get all that, and they're some of the dumbest people to live. But that's the key. That last one is key. Nobody supports the idea of the Marxist revolution anymore. That's their outdated, antiquated ideas. Those people who support it are LARPers who think that they're going to have a violent uprising one day. That's just not going to happen. The reality is there's even less of a chance of that happening than a fascist takeover. It really is, because communism has never worked historically. It does not work on paper. It does not work when you consider the implementation of modern technology, etc. The hardcore communists, your ANCOMs, your your anarcho-communists, whichever of these fringe left economic systems based on ridiculous notions that you can that you can not only replace, not only just make updates or corrections to capitalism, whether you're like right-leaning or left-leaning, it doesn't really matter. They believe that you can completely overthrow it and that we can get rid of all notions of property and replace it with this. They have so many different iterations of it, but essentially everyone would be able to get all the needs they want and everything would just work out okay. This is never going to happen. This is not a serious idea. It's not something to take seriously ever. Like the people that are the real danger to, if you value things like if you're even the center for that matter, if you're like center right even, and you value your way of life economically speaking, then the real threat is going to be from the I'm probably some either the Democratic Socialists or Socialist Social Democrats. There's like a thin line difference between the two, but essentially what the real threat is socialism being passed through incremental measures in order to phase out people's ability to the citizens' private capacity to make profit on their own and get their own means. Essentially, centralizing more of the power to the government and less to the people, which essentially would be socialism, and it would be like distributed in such a way where everyone gets what they want, but you'd be under the government's control. That's the real danger and the real threat. The whole communism thing, I just don't I don't really see alternative economic systems replacing capitalism anytime soon. Like realistically speaking, I just find that to be the reality. I see John Canny left me a link in the chat. Just click that real quick.
That'll be if they're right one, dude.
Okay, this video. Yeah, I saw that one before. I'm just not interested in that clip. It's just a dumb thing. Give me a second. Yeah, but hang on a second. There we go. Okay. And the moral of the story is don't have 20 billion tabs open. All right. So let's listen to the calming words of the soy father. Don't worry, I won't let him drone on too much. And let's go.
For the strange way that I've got to record this, I probably wouldn't record a normal video this way, but as you can see, I'm not at home. I'm at a mystery location. My wife wanted a holiday after the campaign because it was stressful for her, and I was away a lot, and I said, okay, we can do that. I'll be back in a few days. You'll get a few interesting videos like this, though, because it's the best I could do. Anyway, to address the...
I like how he tries to present himself as this is like totally nonchalant and just like an ordinary thing, like, oh, my wife was so stressed on the campaign trail. Please, grow up. Like, it's just... Like, the reason why honestly, what I think is happening here is he's using his wife as a shield and a cover because he's feeling a lot of stress. He's feeling a lot of... He's feeling the heat get on him. He knows that people are actively pinning him and blaming him for UKIP's failing this election season. And he can try to wiggle around it by saying, well, UKIP was already on the, which he does in this video. UKIP was already on the decline. We couldn't beat Farage, which I'll get to that one a bit, because that one's just, I mean, just you have to be brain dead to think that that's a legitimate defense for losing a campaign, that the opposition was better. Like, seriously, I mean, okay, then I guess you failed miserably. I mean, yeesh. Okay.
The crabs in the bucket. What are you so afraid of? What are you so scared of? Are you afraid of losing? Are you afraid of defeat? Because, man, nobody...
Oh, yeah, guys, why don't you do what I did? Why don't you go out into public and get milkshakes splatter all over your face? Were you a coward? I mean, look at me. Someone tried to throw shit and manure at my way. People took apart every single thing about my private life, and, well, not even his private life, just things he said on the internet. People took every single angle of attack they could against me, and now I'm known as that creepy rape tweet guy. Don't you want to be just like me? What are you afraid of? You know, just destroying your own reputation, making sure you have never ever taken seriously in any political context ever, showing the world that you can't do shit, that you're a failure. Like, he's making the jealousy argument after having one of the most devastating losses in election history. Like, you have to be brain dead to buy this stuff. And looking at his comments, and looking at his like to dislike ratio, he's still got plenty in the cult right here that fall for this garbage. They're just brain dead idiots. That's all I can really describe them as.
builds anything if they're afraid of defeat. Of course, there are going to be setbacks. But the MEP election was not one of them. Now, apparently I have to explain this again, so I will.
Okay, let me just go back a bit, because that was just especially stupid. I'm not sure if I heard that right, so let me listen to it again.
There are going to be setbacks. But the MEP election was not one of them.
Okay. Oh boy. All right, let's listen to his wisdom. Like, we got to hear this.
Now, apparently I have to explain this again, so I will. Things need to change, and we've started changing those things. So I noticed that my last video had been brigaded.
Oh boy. Okay. So here comes the victim narrative. People don't think he's an idiot. People don't think that this guy is phenomenally and I just gotta say, I didn't plan this, but look at the expression on his face. It's like, it's kind of unfair of me, but fuck him, he's Sargon. It's just, like, I don't buy that he believes that he's been brigaded. He's saying this is another Easterlip tactic. If people don't like the shit you've done, if your audience is upset with you, just say, hey, you brigaded me. Does this make any sense to anyone? The only sense this makes is if you're in the person's shoes where you just want to blame the other, and yeah, it's true. Sometimes videos do get brigaded, but a YouTuber his size isn't being brigaded. He knows, Sargon, you dumb shit got flung your way, and people are calling you out on it. Like it's. And honestly, if we take a look at that video, yes, there's a noticeable dislike ratio to it, but it's not this huge, overwhelming, whopping thing that would have happened. Like for someone Sargon's size to be in terms of, and now his size is absolutely rotund in the physical world, but I mean in terms of his YouTube presence. In order for him to be brigaded, someone the size of like PewDiePie would have to say fuck Sargon. And honestly, if PewDiePie came out and said fuck Sargon and people just disliked it, justice has been served, in my humble opinion.
By some very angry internet activists, and I thought I'd give them a hand. You only managed 2,300 downvotes to 27,000 upvotes. Kind of low energy.
Look at that. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. All he cares, Jim called out on Sargon. All this man cares about is the numbers. Whenever he's under attack, he goes to the numbers. Whenever he wants to defend himself, he goes to the numbers. He does it in interviews on the television. He's doing this now. It's all about how many points and clicks he can get on his channel. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care about what he does or how effective his policies are, etc. All he's doing is saying, "Look at me. Look at this. You can't even hurt me. I have this nice fortress around me." Like, that's only going to help you out so far. And if you're going to use your and honestly, not all the people who are downvoting the video, given the amount of dislikes it has and given the general disdain people have had for you for the past 2 years at least, that's not. I'm thinking that a significant portion of his audience has started to turn on him, and I think that he fears that. I think that he's humiliated himself in such a way where a segment of his brain dead psychopaths actually, well, not psychopaths, brain dead idiots, actually managed to rub two brain cells together and say, "Hey, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, this guy's full of shit. Maybe this guy isn't this magnanimous leader that he tries to portray himself as, but he's just an idiot. He can't win an election. He can't hold his own. In fact, he's so bad he takes out an entire party with him." Like, that's probably what happened here. And I believe that people have been posting stats on a Social Blade. He's been dropping in subs for the past few days. It's not a whole lot. People have been like kind of exaggerating that a bit. But there is a significant decrease in subscribers he has. Enough where it's noticeable. And I think he fears that that's going to be a continued trend the more he continues this. So he has to triple down. It's the only option he has. He has to triple down in order to hope this works. Well, actually, there is one other option he has, to be honest. And I'm kind of glad he's taking this route, because if he was to take this other route, he'd probably maintain some semblance of dignity. If he just took the L and admitted that he messed up, that he didn't campaign as effectively as he could have, that his overall strategy did not work. I mean, he could even frame it as, well, it just didn't work in this particular case, which would be bullshit, but he could still pass that off and still maintain his audience. But the rate he's going with his doubling down, tripling down, etc., he's going to go ahead and just go on a downward spiral if he keeps this up. In fact, with this video, I don't think he has the option to actually just admit, yeah, I fucked up. Like, he has to now commit himself to this, otherwise he's just going to be laughed at either way. So now he's in a lose-lose situation, and I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's play more of the video.
Frankly, and I want you guys to work harder, because you're doing your part in spreading my name. So do me a favor and keep going, right? Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being salty ex-girlfriends on the internet. That's basically what I'm talking about. Because I just live in your heads, don't I? When I do something, you're like, oh God, we have to talk about this. You're like my fan club. And what's even better is you need me for money. I hope those super berries were tasty.
Well, gee, I wonder who you're referring to with that last comment. I mean, it couldn't have been, Jim. Could it have? It was absolutely Jim. Like, that's the reality here. Sargon, he's probably referring with his other comments. Oh, your salty ex-girlfriends. Whenever I do something, people go after me. Well, actually, people have been relatively quiet about you for a really long time. Actually, it was from the last time he appeared on the kill stream to when he announced he was going to be running as an MEP, I think was when there was like a lull in people giving him flack. And he's done plenty of stupid shit in between, and no one said anything. So, really, yeah, Anita Sarkeesian. That's really it. It's just a victim play. He does retarded shit, and he expects people not to notice. Is he, and the thing is, it's the only, what other defense can he play? In fact, I don't even think this is a good defense here either, because people are seeing right through it, and they're just attacking him more. In fact, now he's contemptible. If people didn't like him before, they'll hate him after this, because not only do they think what he's doing is goofy and dumb and stupid, he should stop. That's kind of like the first phase of people just kind of change their mind about this guy. They go, yeah, I think what you're doing is dumb. But then when he doubles down on it and he just attacks them, then they're like, okay, fuck this guy. Like, they don't even care to see him have a quote-unquote redemption arc or whatever. So, yeah, it's smart. Yes, Smuggon, that's a smart move there. and that's another problem with this. His main focus of his attack is on Jim. His ire here is against Jim, but he's spreading the attack too far, and he just won't call out Jim directly because he knows that won't end well for him. But this also won't end well for him because he's lumping as many people who don't like him, some of whom are probably on the fence, and they're gonna rightfully be like, "No, I don't care about this guy anymore," and he's gonna lose more subscribers. I guarantee it.
One particularly salty scientist. How's Le Pen doing now?
And I wonder who that could be in reference to. Could it be Thunderfoot, who's been calling him out as a hack for the past couple of years? I mean, sure, Thunderfoot did lose the debate on Brexit. He was a Remain guy, and Sargon beat him in that debate in terms of audience numbers. But the thing is, Brexit hasn't been doing so well. Like before, whenever he talked about politics on Brexit, there would be massive amounts of downvotes on those videos. But over time, as Brexit got more and more negative flack, people realized that, yeah, Thunderfoot had a point. Like, the guy was correct on certain problems with certain issues when it came to leaving from the EU. Which, the counter-argument to that would be precisely, sovereignty is more important than the economic downturn or whatever. But this idea that Thunderfoot's just this complete moron when it comes to politics and he knows absolutely nothing about what he's talking about, no, that's not true. And there's plenty for me to go ahead and attack Thunderfoot for, but Sargon just completely steamrolled him and threw him right under the bus. Like, that's the reality. And that's because Thunderfoot saw him like, yeah, you know what, this Sargon guy, he's kind of a schmuck. And he decided to launch counterattacks against him. Which culminated when, Sargon decided, hey, you know what? Hey, that feminist that died, I think we're gonna make her the target of I think we're gonna go on a live stream and laugh at jokes at that dead woman's expense. And he justified this behavior. He said that jokes are perfectly okay. It's okay to make fun of people have just lost their lives in tragic accidents. Now, granted, there is a bit granted, this guy, that was a really bizarre case, and honestly, there were certain aspects of it that were a very dark way kind of funny, but still, there's certain lines that Thunderfoot won't cross, and Sargon has no lines. That's the real difference there. All right. And on from that.
I'm always ahead of the curve, Phil. I'm always ahead of the curve. Just the ego on this guy. Look at him act. Look at this performance here. Let's go back a bit. It's not even a good performance. Really salty scientist. I hope those super berries were tasty. To one particularly salty scientist. How's Le Pen doing now? I'm always ahead of the curve, Phil. No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. What is this act? What is this goofy, supervillain type of behavior here? Is he auditioning to play, I don't know, the Blob in the next X-Men movie? That's all I could really the drinking of the tea, the out in an exotic location, or exotic quote unquote. He could just be on a golf resort for all we know. The dumb evil laughter, the puns and quips here and there. This is all forced. This is really forced. It's really goofy and cringy. Why does he think this is going to be a good look? I swear, this is going to be... Bill, I'm always ahead of the curve. Just you wait. The thing is, none of this is actually particularly surprising in any way, shape or form. But thank you to everyone that's saying that I ruined UKIP. Thank you for that. Well, that's funny because last I checked, even UKIP's ruining UKIP. Second here.
Okay, let's go ahead. Let me just find a couple of things here. 2 things I want to put on the screen. I should have had this beforehand, but second. Now, this was an article. Here it is. Okay. All right. Here we go. It's down further in the article. Now, this is an article The Guardian did where they were talking about like the aftermath of the election, with the effects it has on like the right-leaning parties with Brexit, Tommy Robinson, whatever party Tommy Robinson was affiliated with. Because here's the thing, another thing that is worth mentioning: Tommy Robinson ran against both Brexit and UKIP. Like, fuck that guy. Seriously, fuck that guy. What is that guy doing in an election like this? Like, a lot of people gave Farage flack for running for Brexit, but here's the thing: Farage has proven himself to be able to actually win an election. So him doing his own thing to win, yeah, that's not really something they can blame him for. But what is Tommy Robinson doing, siphoning votes away from these other parties that even UKIP has more of a chance than Tommy Robinson with his own party ever would? What the fuck is wrong with that guy? Wasn't that guy advising UKIP? Didn't Gerard Batten put his neck on the line for that guy? And what does he do? He runs against them? What is with these Anglos thinking that if you run against someone, it's a compliment to them? Can someone explain the logic to me with that one? I really don't get it. I don't, because it seems to be a consistent theme where these people just run against each other for no reason. And I'll get into the case of Sargon against Farage in a moment. But here's the portion that I want to read off. Katie Fanning, a UKIP director who sits in its National Executive Committee, admitted its election campaign had been overshadowed by the controversy surrounding its Southwest England candidate Carl Benjamin, the blogger known as Sargon of Akkad, who refused to apologize for making comments about raping the Labour MP, Jess Phillips. "We've done very poorly," she told The Guardian before the results were declared. UKIP had a major opportunity to do very well in these elections as the democratic will of the people has been overturned. But it's quite clear from UKIP's actions over the last 3 years that people have lost confidence in us as being the primary party of Brexit. Fanning said she felt the party would be lucky to get 3 seats in total. "I believe that's because UKIP's EU campaign has been overshadowed by Sargon of Akkad's disgusting comments and rape jokes and things he has said in the past. That's very much marred UKIP's reputation." So here's the thing. Now we got 2 conflicting opinions here. We got the opinion of a nobody YouTuber named Carl Benjamin versus Katie Fanning, a UKIP director who was within the party. So she knows all the ins and outs of the campaign. She's the one on the ground floor. She's the one actually doing the stuff. She's able to look at the situation, and she pinned it squarely on Carl Benjamin. As far as I'm concerned, she has the greater expertise in the situation, and I'm going to take her word over Carl, I'm from Swindon, guys, I'm important, Benjamin. That's really what this comes down to. Someone in the chat mentions UKIP did not allow Tommy to run, so he went independent. I mean, I understand, but here's the thing. What I don't get is, why would Tommy both be an advisor to UKIP and run his own platform? That doesn't make sense, because no matter which constituency he runs in, UKIP's going to have a guy there as well. They're not going to decide to split the territory unless they did some kind of deal where they didn't run against him so he could get the position there. That's the part that doesn't make sense to me. Why do both? Why be an advisor to UKIP and also run against UKIP? That's why I say fuck Tommy Robinson, among other things. Okay. Let's get back to the video in a moment. But I also want you to keep in mind that it's not just people on the internet pinning the blame on Sargon. It's not just leftist journalists pinning this on Sargon. It's anyone with half a brain is pinning this on Sargon. because he really did make UKIP do so horribly in that election. They would have done better without him. If he wasn't, like, let's put it this way. They would she was predicting, this Kate Fanning said that she was predicting they'd win at least 3 seats. I think that she's right. Because, or, maybe it would have been less, maybe it would have been 1 seat, maybe it would have been 2 seats. They would have gotten more than 0, which means that as a tactical advantage, they would have been better without Sargon on the team. If Batten never decided to recruit him in particular, they would have done much, much better. In fact, based on her statements here, Tommy Robinson is more PR friendly than Carl Benjamin is. Like, that's the thing. She doesn't mention Count Dankula. She doesn't mention Tommy. She mentions just the Milkshake Man. That's it. And if that doesn't demonstrate the point to Sargon or any of his fans and followers, I don't think anything will. I think that the only thing that will make them wake up is I'm not even sure. I honestly don't know. It'll probably take even more fuck ups on his part. And the thing is, this isn't like anything new. Sargon has always been this way. It's just now people have started to realize it. And hopefully, like in part 4, I'm going to go into the future of that. But for now, I want to focus on some of the finer points of this brilliant campaign and the 20-year plan.
Because that makes me more powerful than I otherwise would be. Frankly, more powerful than I deserve to be considered. Because really, there was no beating Farage, and everyone knows it.
And here it is. I couldn't beat Farage. That's the real issue. I think I addressed this last night, but I'm going to expand on that after he finishes his point, quote-unquote, here.
And anyone with any kind of political nous knows this. Anyone with any experience of British politics. I mean, Nigel Farage is probably the most influential politician in the country, and if you're on the internet saying that I'm more influential than him, thank you very much. So
okay. Oh boy. No, Sargon. No one's saying you're more influential than Raj. It's the opposite. Your level of influence you have is such a point where people want you have a negative level of influence. Actually, no. There's only one way you have more influence than Farage. If we measure the absolute value of Farage's positive influence to the absolute value of your negative influence, you would be like 10 times higher than him. That is true. That's the only way that's the only way that sentiment makes any sense. Your expertise, your ability is to make everyone repel and go away and move away from you. Like, the only people that have been attracted to your hug box are people with no lives, no understanding of politics, no understanding of philosophy or history. They're just basically brain dead idiots that go ahead and cling onto your words without thinking twice about them because they can just turn to you to think for them. Problem with that is, though, you're not very good at it. You're not smart, you're not funny. You just happen to go ahead and you find autists that will make up your audience. And how do I know they're autistic? Whenever they get into arguments with people, they'll always go through the same kind of mantras and talking points that make no sense, and they make you try, and they don't understand things like nuance or context. They can't abstract, and they only focus on things in a very narrow and rigid way without actually thinking, well, wait, maybe this idea isn't well founded. Maybe this isn't correct. Maybe I should actually, use my brain a little bit here. Maybe I should actually, pick up on the social cues of the situation going on here. Maybe I should recognize other factors, etc. Like the whole freedom of speech thing. I have never once heard any of these Sargonites ever justify why freedom of speech is so important. They can't do it. They're dumb. They're inept. And they stay inept because instead of maybe like reading up on the subject, like maybe looking into like reading some more material online, because there's lots of books that have been published that have been spread throughout the internet. You can look up like, okay, why is it that we have these things? Why is it that the government's set up the way it is? Why is it that people believe in certain things? They don't look into any of that. They just follow some guy on YouTube. And really, that's that could explain a lot of the problem, really. Like, just listen to whoever it happens to be. Like, don't ever do any of your own research. Just if a guy gets up to a podium, just follow that guy. He's right. Go with it.
Here's a quick strategic analysis of where UKIP is now. UKIP is a party with now more than 30,000 members, which is almost double what it had when we joined, and it also does hold a few dozen council seats.
Twice nothing is still nothing, Sargon. It doesn't matter if you got 30,000 people as opposed to 50,000. Like, that's still small potatoes in a country that... What is the population of the country anyway? Let's see, population today. Okay, so apparently United Kingdom has 66 million people in it. Someone do the math on that. Like, what percent is 30,000 members in UKIP? In fact, split that in half. 33 million. 30,000 is like, wow, that's not even like a percent of a percent. And Sargon is bragging about that as though he has some kind of clout. What a delusional moron. Like, what is with this guy? Like, a simple look on Google just refutes this guy and his concept and notions of how much self-importance he has. Okay, let's go back to the video.
Seats, and it has many strong branches in the southwest. I'll use the example of the Gloucester branch. It was run by an old white man, a boomer, and he was a tyrant. He was very plugged into the old way of doing politics, and he was very, the branch members called him tyrannical. And so when I went to Gloucester as part of my anti-fascist parade, they were very pleased to see me, and they thanked me for getting rid of him. Now, I didn't mean to get rid of him, but you're welcome, because things had to change, and this change will continue, because UKIP is polling higher and higher among young people. UKIP is going to end up becoming a kind of revolutionary youth party for classical liberalism.
Okay, you hear that? Like, this just confirms that, like, his jokes with Kevin Logan on that live stream that I played last night. I might play it again here just for the people who missed it. Those jokes, they're kind of sort of weren't jokes, were they? He wanted to take all the old bogey, quote unquote, like conservative ideas and just get rid of them. Things like standing up for religious practices and traditional values, stuff like that. Those things need to be tossed aside. Things like conservative economics, we don't need them. We need more social policies. We need to stand up against tyrants, and we need the youth to come in because, as we all know, best decisions in politics are always made by those under the age of 30. Am I right? Like under 25, those who have just turned adulthood. Those people, yeah, that's the people I want deciding the fate of my country and the fate of future generations. You don't want anything like appealing to those old people, the people that are actually care about this stuff, the people who actually are statistically in every single election for ever have been voting in these things. They don't matter. Get rid of them. They're tyrants. They're too far to the right. Just kick him out. That's what he's doing. He's preferring the party in order to promote what he calls, quote unquote, classical liberalism, which is this whole classical liberalism thing. You cannot be a classical liberal in the modern day. That is not possible. The ideas of classical liberalism have only been called that retroactively. They have only applied back in the time period of which they were set. Those people can be called classical liberals. You cannot be a classical liberal in this day and age, period. And the classical liberals of those days would not agree with Sargon on most of the things he stands for anyway, which I might get into that tonight. I might save that for another part of this series, I guess. But this whole that's the one. That's another thing. That's another reason why people should see this guy as a snake. He personally has never called himself, to the best of my knowledge, a conservative. he personally has never called himself right-wing. He may have accepted the label. He may have gotten his lawyer to call him that. But he never has put that label on himself when presenting himself in public. That should tip everyone off that this guy is not on the right. This guy's on the left. Like, he might be in the center left, might have some weird kind of right, he might just weirdly pull ideas and talking points from the right to use it for his own agenda, like his pathological hatred of feminism, etc. He might have these weird ideas of what a right winger is. He might have weird ideas what a conservative is, but he himself is socially and economically liberal. Is left wing. He's just that's who type of person he is. And people like that's why people should talk about his policies more. Like whenever he says something about policy wise, oh, I'll go ahead and I'll stop buying plastic bags. That's him admitting that yeah, global warming is a problem, so we should do something about it. He's also been on the record saying that he's avidly and ardently defended degeneracy, including gay marriage, including anything to do with the LGBT community, just about, with the nominal exception of, oh, I think that like in all seriousness, when he went into his debate with Destiny, the last one, which I am never gonna play that on the here because it was just torture listening through that thing. But the thing they debated about wasn't whether or not like this transgenderism thing is actually a thing that should be considered real, which, you know, the conservative would actually point out, no, this is lunacy, this is insanity. We shouldn't placate to these people, and we shouldn't make government policies to placate to mentally ill people. What we should do is put them into asylums and study them. That's what should happen. No, that wasn't Sargon's point. Sargon's point was, well, should we really call trans women women or trans women? All that he cared about in that debate was the semantics and the definitions and the meanings of words, and it's just retarded. It's autism. It doesn't. That's because he supports these kind of things, and he wants to, and also, of course, as we all know, he wants to have relations with these people. It's like, yeah, I think John Canning in the chat said it best. He's an e-grifter. Like, that's exactly what he is. That's what these people are. They just go ahead, they latch onto a community, ones that they just have very little familiarity with, and they stick themselves on, and they wear these masks and cloak themselves as they push their own shit through, and they pause up that place. It's like what's happened to a lot of good places on the internet. Like for example, I remember Cracked, the magazine. It used to be a pretty solidly decent magazine. Now it's full of trannies and hookers and other dumb degenerate shit. There was also I remember like last year, Medicare was pointing out that the SCP community had gone completely paused. Like the moderation team just took over and pushed all this dumb crap through the pipeline. And of course, you know what happens with you have reading grounds of these places like Reddit. How many times you go to a Discord and there's these rules protecting these faggots? Like, and you might notice a commonality there. It seems to me more often than not, it's not liberals per se doing this. It's degenerates. It's people who have disgusting, deviant lives from the rest of us, from us normal people. And yeah, sure, people do their own disgusting things, but not to a degree that these deviants go ahead and do these things. And they need to be accepted and welcomed in by these people. Oh yeah, Bulbapedia, that's a good one. And other places. Like, they have to pervert every pocket at. Oh yeah, another one I'm gonna mention. GDC, Games Done Quick. Like, I mean, or was it GDQ? It doesn't really matter. Like, I don't get, like, other than them being complete, other than it like other than them attract, like, you know, it's the idea of a speed run shouldn't immediately bring up images of like liberal acceptance and trannies, but that's the state of that community in that circle. And it seems to have also occurred, like, and it just keeps on happening over and over again. All right, I'm really on a tangent with this one, to be honest. Just gonna go back to the video.
Now that's, frankly, I think what we all want to see in Britain, because that's something that a lot of people can get behind, I think, because these are the changes that we need to enact. It is genuinely a restoration of liberalism in Britain after being subverted by progressivism, which essentially means being subverted by socialism.
No, that's retarded. Like this, okay. Here's the thing. This is dumb. Firstly, liberalism and like if you are calling yourself a classical, like honestly, this conception of liberalism that Sargon has in his mind and presents is failed progressivism, really, because progressives want to go ahead and they want to tackle things directly in their own ideological beliefs. Like if there's a disparity between men and women, they want to elevate women to be equal to men, because to them, according to the progressive message, equality is only achieved if everyone can be considered equal, and that the reason why there's inequality is because of cultural differences. Sargon doesn't believe in that for some reason. Like he doesn't believe that sociology is a real thing. And he doesn't believe in it because, a lot of this stuff is bullshit. Like, there's no, he doesn't have the stance of either, well, equality is not a necessary outcome to achieve. You should just go ahead. Everyone should be able to take care of their own stuff and succeed and go ahead, pass or fail on their own merits. That's not something he really believes in, because he also believes in social programs and things like affirmative action. In fact, there's a clip I was listening to just before the stream that I'll play that actually cements this point. Just doesn't like it when people use things like feminism or racism, stuff like that. It's a case of where the guy doesn't want to look at these issues in any kind of basis of reality. He wants to look at them in abstract contents, and he wants to blame this nebulous idea of identity politics, as though the real heart of these issues is having an identity as opposed to like whatever the issue may be. And if you ask me, like I don't like most of the stuff. I just don't give a shit like that. But that's the thing. Progressives are mainstream, and they're not necessarily. And the other problem with this is he's calling all progressives socialists. This is no. That's bullshit. That is complete bullshit. And I see a lot of people fall into this trap that, oh well, the real solution to everything is more and more capitalism. And if we just got rid of the socialists, the progressives would go away. That's not true, because progressives use capitalism to their advantage. Just look at Twitter. Twitter is a capitalist company. They saw an opportunity, they took advantage of it, and they decided to claim victory and secure all the rules. They essentially are able to have this giant, massive forum that everyone has to go to, and they have to acquiesce to their rulings. Like, you can't say certain things that you might be able to say in very, well, pretty soon you won't be able to say things on the internet. Like, you can't say the word faggot anymore. You won't be able to call trannies. You'll have to call them, I don't know, probably whatever the latest PC word is. Can't like, and again, the degeneracy. That's the commonality here of what you can and cannot say in general. And you can't use certain racial slurs against certain people, but you can use certain racial slurs against certain other people, because consistency is fun like that. The reason, but again, Twitter is a openly traded company. It follows all the capitalist criteria. Progressives take any tool in their arsenal to their advantage. If they want to use the government, if they want to use socialist type policies, they will go for that. If they want to use companies and capitalism and money, they're going to go for that. That's how they work. They operate by using whatever is available to them. And yeah, it's like, and it's not going to and that's why it's important that you have to have, you can't just fight things on an economic front like Sargon. That's another thing. Sargon's taken up this kind of attitude that I've seen a lot of other liberals have, like Democrats in America, like the people behind that show Rosie O'Donnell took up, that the only differences between the right and the left are economic policies. No, this is wrong. This is dumb. The real root of the issue is the values that these people have are fundamentally different, and they mainly stem from, I don't think that it's not like it relates to religion, but it's not exactly the same. Not as simple as saying, well, these people are secular and these people are religious. It's more to do with the religious people want to do what's right above anything else and secure that for like and secure it for some greater goal that is outward from themselves. Like maybe it's the stability of the nation. Maybe it's like maybe it's a spiritual thing. They want to make sure their souls is right with God. Or maybe it's just for the sake of their children and future generations. Like maybe they would be okay with doing all kinds of degenerate shit if they weren't married and had kids. Sometimes that's what makes people go, well, gee, maybe I shouldn't drink so much, and maybe I shouldn't be floozing around with all these women. Whereas the liberals, they just want to do whatever. They want maximum freedom. They want no order, and they want to be able to do whatever they want, regardless of the consequences. All they want is, that's pretty much what it is they want. And Sargon, being a political player, he is on the degenerate side of things. He wants people to do whatever they want. Most part, yeah, actually, no, that's it's fair to say that's what he wants. That's what he always leans towards. If something is even perceived as maybe impeding his enjoyment of something or other people's enjoyment of a thing, then that thing needs to go away. That's why that's why he would support he said, that's the thing. He doesn't like the whole thing about him and feminism is he doesn't like feminism because feminists bully him. That's it. Like that's really what it comes down to. It's eating his enjoyment of something. That's why he does in fact, Sargon's analysis of feminism is something that really needs to be looked into, because I've noticed that he likes to talk about context and stuff like that. How many times did this guy play the clip of Anita saying everything is sexist, everything is racist, and you need to point it all out? Now, granted, you can say that's a reflection of Anita Sarkeesian's overall ideas and things and such, but the thing is, this guy is such a stickler for context that he leaves out the fact that that Anita was expressing an attitude that she had in the past in her college days. Like, you can go watch the clip, it's there. But these guys just took that because it's funny and use as part of their central argument. And it's not just that one instance where he's done this. He's done this a lot, and he's done this with a lot of other different people as well. He just has gone with whatever's popular. So, and that shouldn't be misconstrued as some kind of endorsement of feminism. Feminism is cancer because it goes against the structure of the family unit. And that should be really the argument against feminism. A lot of these weird tangents, and at least the default argument should be that people like to go into these weird tangents and have these really weird reasons for going against them, which don't make any sense when you think about it. I honestly, other than again, feminism's desire to destroy the family unit, there's other issues, of course. There's other weird shit they push, and there's other weird ideas they advocate for, sure. But it all ties from that central point, and that central point is the thing that should be attacked when it comes to that issue. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to return to the video, see what else he has to say.
Now, like I said, is not our time. Now we set the groundwork. The important thing is that we just carry on. People who are like, oh, you've destroyed UKIP in the polls. Did you see the polls for UKIP before we joined? We're actually up.
Okay. All right, let's fact check that real quick. Sargon claims that they're up in the polls. Let's see, UKIP and elections. Okay. All right. All right, I'll have to find it later, but I'd like someone to fact check that claim. This idea that UKIP is up, I find that hard to believe. I'm pretty sure. Okay, you know what? No, I'm pretty sure we can say that that's bullshit, because before the election, they had MVPs. After the election, no MVPs. They were down 100%. Literally 100% they are down by. They have no representation in the European Parliament whatsoever. No, Carl, that's just complete bullshit.
We're actually up in an election that doesn't matter in the slightest. The MEP elections was a rerun of Brexit, and it's a good thing for everyone, frankly, that the Brexit Party swept it. A very good thing. If they didn't, then honestly, there may well have been a second referendum, frankly. I don't think that's going to happen now, because at the moment, I think the Conservatives, led by Boris Johnson, as I put in the last video, and I think he will be leading it, or Sajid Javid. But Sajid Javid has also said that he would leave the European Union on October 31st. And I think there's kind of a meme in the Conservative Party right now that they understand that, look, they've got to get us out, or it's going to be the death of their party. And the Conservative Party is very old. It's an institution in and of itself. And I think that the people in the Conservative Party realise that they have one option to save their party. And I think they do.
Okay, that's, like, honestly, anything Sargon says about the Conservative Party is just concern trolling, because Sargon has viciously attacked the Conservative Party in multiple videos in the past. This guy does not care about their party or their concerns, constituency. In fact, he even admits that here, partially. He fucks this up a bit, because he admits that he wants to replace them with, a younger, their institution. He wants to replace them. That's the real agenda he has. He wants to subvert and pervert. Like, that's what he wants to do. He wants to get rid of anything that was good remaining about the old, and toss it out. Like, oh man, it's just, it's kind of like, it's almost blatant what he's doing here. Like, and it does, and someone mentioned in the chat, it is amazing how many people buy into this bullshit. Yeah, it is. It is. It's like, actually, that's a good segue to go into something else, because break from this for a moment. Because where else is Sargon being accepted in the right, like in conservative circles? Because people have been focusing on mostly the elections, and when it comes to the skeptic community, it tends to be an over focus on a few key players, like Sargon, Kraut, Jeff Holiday. Those are all people worthy of ridicule, don't get me wrong. But what about people that joined up with the skeptic community and used it to get into more mainstream sorts of situations? People aren't really talking about that. And I think that, like, I think that Jim is wrong about something when it comes to skeptics. Jim claimed that the most successful skeptic was Shoeonhead. Now, in terms of sheer numbers, yes, he is correct. What it comes down to is that, and I see someone in the chat says, "Who cares?" This is relevant. I'm not on a tangent here. It's gonna circle back. I thought I had this open a tab that I can click on real quick, but unfortunately I do not. So, second. All right, give me a second. Okay, so then who is the alpha skeptic? Who's been the most successful out of all the skeptics? Well, honestly, I think the answer to that is roaming millennial. So I think that it's because, well, she might not have the numbers of, say, Lauren Southern. Maybe she's not as well known on the internet as the other people. The reason I would put roaming millennial as number one is because she is the most well networked. She is the one who's actually put herself in a position she can excel. She's someone who did the smartest play, which is to get as heavily embedded in the conservative network as possible, and she did that by getting a deal with CRTV. CRTV is this kind of alternative sort of conservative network that's run by Mark Levin, a radio talk show host who's also been a frequent Fox News guest. Romy Millennial has also worked very closely with Ben Shapiro, and she has been on Fox News. Someone in the chat asks, would she even be considered a skeptic? 100% yes. 100% yes and then some, because she networked with all of them. She appeared in she hung out in the same circles. She appeared in the same shows, and she's also working for the Blaze as well, giving Sargon an interview. And I know I had this up. And I don't know what happened to it. Really, I don't up in the tab. Reading, Romy Millennial shouldn't have joined CRTV/The Blaze though, John. Yeah, I agree. It's a problem. Like, that's the issue the skeptics really pose, is that it's not just Sargon that's perverting. Well, honestly, I've already talked about this. The conservative networks have been perverted for a long time. But this is just another level. This is just more of the same corruption, and going further and further deeper until there is no semblance of a difference between conservatives and liberals. That's what the real thing is going on here. Like, the arguments that conservatives and liberals are having are seeming increasingly more like liberal versus liberal arguments as time goes on. That's the reality. And having the Blaze interview Sargon as a puff piece type of interview where they're giving him praise and stuff like that, that's the kind of stuff that is further from what anyone needs right now. And yet here we are in this position, which, all right, I'll find the interview later, because I swore I had it up. I fucked it up. But I'll get it soon. All right, let me just go back to the video, and I'll press play.
Who wants to save their party? I think it's a part of their identity. I think it's a part of their worldview, is to consider themselves part of this. And so I don't think they're going to let that happen. I think they're going to get us out of the European Union. Problem solved. Or at least one problem solved. Then we have lots of other problems that we have to worry about. Now, this gives us quite a lot of time between now and about this time next year, when the next local elections will be held. We're going to keep doing the things we're doing, and we're going to do it because it works. You can't win a war.
Okay, wait, what? That was... say? I think I misheard him there. Let's repeat.
The next local elections will be held between now and about this time next year. Then we have lots of other problems that we have to worry about. Now, this gives us quite a lot of time between now and about this time next year, when the next local elections will be held. We're going to keep doing the things we're doing, and we're going to do it because it works.
You actually said that. I had to do a double take. I had to go back on it. Why is it that this guy thinks that it worked? It worked, man? Carl, what the fuck are you doing? It worked? Let's look at those numbers again. You like numbers a lot. Let's just go back to them. This is working to you? 3.4% of the vote? 0 seats? And let's see, I still have that piece in the local elections up. 80% loss of seats in the local elections, and you expect to do better next year? It worked? Like, this guy's insane. This guy's an idiot. He does not know what he's talking about.
You can't win a war if you're not prepared to lose a battle. Now, I was actually thinking about this. Maybe it would have been wiser to have taken the Gibraltarian gentleman's opinion on this and actually not have run at all. Because, I mean, money was spent that didn't really need to be spent. It probably would have been wiser, but...
Look at that. Look at that. Some reflection, self-consideration, thinking back on, like, the whole... like... He has to end it in a butt. Like, maybe we shouldn't have ran, which I'll get to that in a second, because it just blows my mind.
I mean, it's easy to say, well, in hindsight, every fool is wise. So I don't really know. I mean, maybe it would have been better not to have done, but we accomplished a hell of a lot in the campaign itself, and we learned some really valuable lessons. I'm probably going to go over some old ground from the previous video, but I think this is important because this is really what we want and what we need to end up winning this war.
Okay. The guy can't think. He was like he almost had a moment there where he admitted a mistake, but he just can't bring himself to do it. Like he said that maybe we shouldn't have ran at all this year, and because we would have saved a lot of time and money. And then he adds, but we was a learning experience. We learned a lot of things. Was it worth humiliating yourself through the press? All this negative publicity, worth it? Really, Sargon? Like, it's something that Jim said in his video on this guy, where being someone of importance, it's not always a good thing. Like being relevant, that's not a good thing if you're infamous. If you're famous, it's great, but if everyone hates you, that's not good. You just turned off all a whole vast sections of the voting public to your brand as a politician. And you're saying that it was worth it to learn a few lessons. Amazing. Just absolutely amazing. So the point of doing the town hall style conversations and debates in the public square was to draw out the opposition, and man, they couldn't resist. I mean, we didn't even give them a spicy topic that we were going to discuss. We just said, hey, we're coming. And man, in Totnes was amazing. They came out in droves. There was literally like 100, 200 rabid Romani lefty types who didn't know shit. Own the libs, trigger the libs. But yep, got to get those YouTube clips and put them out there. That's this guy thinks that winning debates and winning rounds in the holes of debate, like to nobodies, to random strangers on the streets, actually matters at all. The only thing that winning debates really here's the sad truth of for any of you intellectuals there that value debates and stuff like that, any of these public stunts isn't what you're looking for. These public displays of entertainment, that's not it. If you're like this kind of an act, and when I say intellectual, I don't mean like a farts huffing kind of a retard. I'm talking about someone that actually knows a thing or two about whatever issues that concerns them, if that's your field of interest. But these arguments don't prove shit. They don't. Like random people on the street don't know anything. All these debates do is it makes someone earn money or fame, because you're able to get that dig in that I wouldn't not as smart as you think you are comment, or what else was there? You're able to call someone a bitch made nigger, or maybe the dunk point can be whatever. So long as you get that gotcha at the other person, you got that zinger in there, and people remember it, and everyone cheers and applauds as some other guy gets embarrassed or humiliated. Get all that attention, fame, and super berries. That's what that does. This guy thinks in his head that, oh yeah, we can out-rationalize them, and that will make us win elections. I'm willing to bet that all the people that came to his events wanting to see Sargon succeed had the same opinion as when they went there, before they went there, and all the people who went there to oppose Sargon have the same opinion of opposition of him after they left. Yeah, that's like some of the chat asks, has Carl ever really won a debate? Thunderfoot, and he's drawn I guess Thunderfoot, really. He won that debate, sure. But even then, that's more on the level of honestly, the debates that Sargon has won has just been done by sheer numbers and reception. It wasn't done based on the merits of the arguments. And even then, most of the debates based on sheer numbers and stuff like that, he's lost most of those based on that criteria. He lost against Christy Winters. He lost against Pixie Jenny. Lost against some other feminist. By the way, if there's a theme going on, and Kevin Logan. By the way, if there's a theme going on with the people that he's definitely lost debates against, they're all feminists. That should tell you something. Yeah, and the funny thing is, Pixie Jenny, I think, made a reappearance where she bragged about having Sargon in a debate back, and now she's laughing at him losing the elections. That was pretty funny to me. I'll pull that up later.
And got really, really, really angry that we knew more than they did. We had our arguments, they didn't have theirs. And we held the field afterwards. And that's the important thing. They never drove us off. They never drove us off. They couldn't drive us off. And so we held this, and we carried on for the entire day, and we got some really valuable content out of it. The lady who'd fled from the north because of immigration there, she was unbelievably valuable. And the South African ladies who think that there's nothing wrong with South Africa at the moment, they were very useful too. Getting
up. Okay. Owning the libs is a way of life, according to Sargon. Like, really, that's the kind of message he's sending out here. Gotta own the libs, trigger the libs. We held the line. They came out after us, but we stood our ground, shot them all down. Just, this guy, I mean, this is exactly what this is. Sargon's right now the kid in the locker room of like the basketball game, and like after like a humiliating defeat, he goes, "Well, guys, I know that we got our asses completely handed to us in that basketball game, and they used us and threw us right in the hoops in order to score points. But really, guys, we beat them in debate club. Isn't that great?" That's what he's. That's the kind of dork that Sargon is at the moment. Slaughtered entirely in the polls. He didn't get none of the girls. He didn't get any of the girls. He didn't get any of the praise of popularity. None of the accolades. Well, everyone detests and despises him. But he really beat them in the halls of the debate, guys. Yeah, way to go, Sargon. And the other aspect of that, the people he's beating debates aren't even relevant. They're just people who showed up. And by people, I mean anyone who was nearby who just wanted to have some fun. Like that one guy that Jim showed saying, "I'm just here for the lulz, really?" And really, does it really matter if they lost the debates, if they got to play a game of get 20 points if you hit Sargon with a milkshake? Does this guy think? I don't think he does. I think he's really socially inept. I think that his life in Swindon, I think Swindon must have a very, very different culture. No, that's not fair. That's not fair to the people of Swindon. I think Sargon has a very different mindset and view of culture than most everyone else. And I know people are people online are not exactly very socially inept anyway. You can say about that about a lot of people as it is. This guy is just. I mean, imagine if some guy you were at a bar and you were like saying, "Well, how was your week?" And then Sargon was there, and then like maybe you talk about your job, like things you did on the things you had planned for on the weekend, things you did like stuff you saw, maybe something you read in the news. And Sargon's like, Carl Benjamin's there saying, "Well, the other day I was out in Westminster. Boy, those SJWs, they came. They really tried to come at us with South Africans. They didn't do nothing, but we debated them and we owned them with the facts and logic." It just like, if this has happened in real life, if there's been a real life conversation, Sargon's bragging about inter arguments he's won, I need to see that clip. That's got to be shown. That's got to be played.
Getting the extremity of the left to come out and face us, priceless. Because I don't know whether you've noticed, but they won't talk to us. They will censor us, they'll deplatform us, but they won't come and talk to us. They'll do everything they can to avoid engaging with us. And this was a way of bringing...
If you silence and deplatform all of your enemies, they win. That's right, guys. If you censor us, we're the victors here. Now, Sargon, like, this is something that people have pointed out to you over and over again, and I think you understand it at this point, because I know you use this tactic against other people as well. They're not ignoring you because they're afraid to lose. They're not in a losing position. They're not bothering you. They don't have to. They don't have to bother with someone like you because you're a failure. You're incompetent, weak, nothing. They don't need to go ahead and get all rational with you in discourse. Not because they can't. A lot of them can and have actually shown that yeah, they're not this complete what's the word for it? They're not at least not all of them are low-hanging fruit as you make them out to be. As has been your debates against a lot of the feminists that I mentioned has shown. Reality is they already are in positions of power. They can do whatever they want. They can already, because like the left that you're complaining about, they don't need to engage you. In fact, for that matter, nobody needs to engage you. And I wish the right would actually learn that, hey, wait a minute, we don't need to engage this guy either. We don't need this guy. It doesn't matter how many views or subs this guy has. It doesn't matter how many loyal cultists he has typing away fervently on the internet. He's irrelevant. And as soon as that happens, I think we'll be in a little bit of a better spot. At least you can't be this disgusting. You have to be less disgusting than this guy if you want to make it on the internet. If that becomes a thing, that'd be great.
Getting them out of their fortresses and getting them to engage on the field, and we shredded them at every turn. Not one of them went away happy with the way that the conversation between me and them had gone, and that's what we need to know.
I don't know about that. I mean, there was this one debate against that vegan, and you got kind of... Soy Boy actually kind of beat you in that one, I think. Like, couldn't really defend your position on eating meat. That's kind of sad. Like, a very basic human thing, and you didn't really have a competent position or compelling case to have against the guy. Not a good look. I mean, I remember in the very debate, you said that, well, animals can't feel pain, and you switched it around a bit to like, oh, well, plants can feel pain, but then you switched around a bit to, well, plants, okay, maybe they don't feel pain, maybe they suffer. You really had to dance and toe around that one, and those are funny to watch because these guys they step out of their comfort zones and they just get wrecked immediately. And I think I'll be looking through some of those debates because he likes to portray this as, oh, I won all of them, but I'm willing to bet that there's plenty where even the common man had a better case than you did.
Essentially, we need to make sure that they can commit, and this was a way of doing it. Now, I hadn't even specified topics that we were going to discuss. Imagine if I did. Imagine if I go to Rotherham and flyer the town with, we're going to talk about Labour's culpability with the Rotherham grooming gang scandal.
Just look at this guy's face. I mean, I think I'm getting a call from Stefan Molyneux. He's saying, can this guy tone it down a bit with the smugness? Like, how does this guy get off this smug over nothing? I'm gonna pick the topics. I'm gonna go to Rotherham. I'm going to blame the libtards on rapes. Won't that be hilarious? He's like acting like this is a big gotcha, a big win, but no one's gonna care. The only thing that might happen is you might actually be branded as harassers after, because here's the thing. Another problem with Sargon's strategy, let's just say that Sargon is remotely competent and remotely a threat to the establishment in any way whatsoever. The way you beat this guy is you have a guy, or you have a plant, go in there, identify as one of these liberalists, raise a stink, throw a stir, and then you had the police come in and arrest a few people, or maybe a fight breaks out because of the ruckus or something like that happens. You got the media to hyper focus on that, footage it, put it in all the papers, and bam, there goes, and just like that, your political movement's dead. That's what happened in Charlottesville. Like the whole alt-right thing. Charlottesville killed the alt-right for a number of reasons, but one of them was because of the quote-unquote optics. That wasn't the only reason. There was a bunch of factors involved with that woke up a lot of people. But one of the big factors was, yeah, if you go out in public and you have the retard rallies, people are going to catch you acting there. It doesn't matter if you have 99.99% of people there all cleaned up, dressed in suits, acting professional. It won't matter. You just need the one guy who's a part of you goes out and causes a stink to ruin that. I mean, that's another reason why this whole used I'm just going to refer to them as the civic cucks because that's what they are. They believe that using the system will beat the system. No, that's not going to happen. Anyone who believes that is aspiring to a false hope. That's worse than doing nothing. The civic cucks will always be behind because they think that if they have their own rallies coming from the right, like the center right or the far right, whatever, they're going to win. No, forget it. You're going to get the same strategy is going to be used against you. They will use the system, the tools necessary already in play. Make sure that your movement dies, guaranteed. Unless you play by the mainstream's rules. Mainstream is just going further and further into decline, and that's just the way it's going to be. Like that, there's no hope with that angle or that route. All right, so continuing with this.
You can already hear the screeching, can't you? You can already hear the screeching. How about if I go to Sheffield, where Mayor Magic Majid wears his T-shirt, Immigrants Make Britain Great, and fly around there for a town hall meeting of when are they going to make their own countries great?
This is such a childish and naive immigration issue. Like seriously, like Sargon's response to immigration is, and he said this on I don't remember which live stream it was, but he said this at least once that he's against all immigration. And he thinks the alt-rights are cucks because they would allow white people into the nation. This is such a retarded thing to come up with. Like, yeah, is there problems with immigration? Yes, of course there is. But however, does that mean that immigration should be totally and completely opposed on all levels? No. And this answer that, oh well, you should get out of you shouldn't be here, you shouldn't be allowed in the country, which is essentially what he's saying there. Like, oh well, don't come to the country if you have something to offer us or if you have anything that could possibly provide for us in the home nation there, which is like the benefit of immigration. You get labor and skills you wouldn't otherwise have in the home country coming in. That's the economic benefit of it. Like, the idea that like, oh well, the answer to that should be that they should just stay in their own countries and we shouldn't take advantage of like what good these other nations have. These people might have all these other skills and have them here and just block them out entirely. It's just so retarded. It really is. And yeah, that doesn't mean that like we should just open the borders to just anyone, because that's also retarded. Like, obviously you can't treat humans as another commodity. That's stupid. Reason being that humans with them carry a bunch of externalities that are going to be a problem, such as they could be terrorists or criminals or rapists, or they could be degenerates, or they could be socialists, or they could have like or they could carry diseases, etc. Like, it's a bit more nuanced than no immigration or open borders. And I don't think Carl's gotten that through his head. I don't think he's actually thought about the issue. I think he's just seen it as just this one-note stance where, oh, if you support any kind of immigration at all whatsoever, that makes you a cuck. Which is rich coming from him being a literal cuckold.
They're not going to be able to resist us. In fact, they're going to go psychotic. It's going to be national news, and they're going to look terrible. And all we have to do is just smile and wear the milkshakes with pride. And honestly, every milkshake taken is a point of pride, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, get doused in milkshake to own libs. That's brilliant. The other point here is that he's going on this mantra that if he gets people mad, that makes him relevant, that makes him important. That if he's notorious for being a provocateur, that'll make him invincible or something. Did that work out for Milo, Sargon? Did that work out for Alex Jones? They tried that route too. They're pretty much dead in the water. I mean, granted, you did granted, Milo has clung on to you because Yeah, that's how badly Milo's doing. Milo is doing so badly. In order for him to get his name out there once again, he had to glom onto you. Consider that. You are in a, you can bullshit all you want. I know you know you're in a losing position. I know you know this is humiliating for you. I know this bruises your ego. I know when you turn off the camera, you're exasperating. You're putting your hands on your face. You're worrying about what your subscribers are going to be like. I know you're staring fervently on the screen. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you're listening to this right now or sometime in the future. You know you're in a bad spot. Milo came to you. Milo came to you. That is how badly he is. In order for him to get any kind of recognition or noticeability, he sided with you. And he was the provocateur. I think you've even been on the record as praising him as being a better provocateur than yourself in the past. That didn't work out for him. People found his shit disgusting. They got tired of it. They kicked him out. First, the left did it by throwing him off of Twitter and other social media websites. And the right did it because they happen to have a stance and standard against pedophilia. I'm surprised as you are, but they said, hey, you know what? Fuck that shit. We don't want it. If that's the direction of provocateuring, you're gonna die in the sword. You're gonna fall in the sword, and it's gonna kill you. Channel will get taken away, and well, people are saying his channel's gonna be getting taken away regardless. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I hope it does at this point, because honestly, a lot of times the only way that these people actually go away is if they get censored. And honestly, I don't feel sorry for any of these people that get censored off of these social media platforms, for the most part. Like, there might be some cases where it's unfair or whatever, but reality is, like, brass tacks, the people that are advocating these things, your Paul Joseph Watsons who get banned from Facebook, or your Maya Yiannopoulos, they're all part of the same cancer, and them succeeding is bad, and them failing is good. So, screw them, and screw Sargon if it happens to him as well. Said though, what would be Sargon's better play here? Like, his best chance, honestly, would be just to try to move on at this point. Not double down, not triple down. Anyway, let's continue this video.
You have to understand, that's them showing that they've lost the argument. As Ricky Gervais said, when you resort to this, you haven't got anything else to say. You know they're saying things that you can't refute, and so you're resorting to violence. Very middle-class, pointless violence, but that is a form of violence nonetheless. And this is what we need to do. We need to bring them out of their strongholds and defeat them in the field. Not a problem. And
what? It's like, keeps like the slarpy sort of militaristic rhetoric is just so retarded. I mean, yeah, I understand you gotta do that to draw up the base and stuff sometimes, so it's not like, but it's really cringy and gay and stupid, and it doesn't, it's like, as far as political tactics, it's not a good tactic. This isn't smart. I mean, who are you getting to come out of the stronghold? People watch the news and form liberal opinions and beliefs. I mean, if I was to go to my local Starbucks and start debating people there, would I suddenly become a revolutionary? Like, that's the logic this guy's operating under. Like, if you start debating people at Starbucks, you're a revolutionary. This makes complete and total sense. I mean, like, this guy, like, did he not think this through? He must not have, because he can't possibly be thinking any of this through. If he did, he wouldn't have run for office.
And then once we've done this enough, their best and brightest are going to come out, and they're going to come and talk to us. And that's where the real challenge will begin. And that's how we begin to domesticate these issues, because that's what needs to happen. At the moment, no one can talk about them, but UKIP's going to, and UKIP's going to own these conversations, and they're going to own the format. They're going to own it. It'll be UKIP town halls are coming to your city soon. It's going to be big.
But what if they send feminists out like Christy Winters? Did you prepare for that? Did you prepare for maybe like the potato head Kevin Logan coming? Because he's actually gotten you in a number of debates as well. Like, can't even debate basic bish feminist Sargon. When the real academics start coming out, it's not going to end well for you. You are going to lose those debates because they're going to hit you with things. Because the thing is, the academics, they're liberal, they're corrupt. I agree. They're going to hit you with shit that you won't be able to handle, and I know you can't handle it. Like, what was your big gotcha against Christy Winters? Oh, look at this. This is bad. I mean, men can no longer buy. What was it that he said? Yeah, he went to Christy Winters one time, during his flame war with intern aristocrat. Tried to get some good boy points with his own base. He went on live stream with Christy Winters and tried to bring up issues with women not being able to get diamond rings and like how this is on the decline, that men couldn't afford expensive diamond jewelry. Christy Winter was like, "What the? Well, actually, no. This isn't really the like how has it helped the patriarch? Just saying, oh look, this is if the patriarchy is winning, how come men can't afford these diamond rings and stuff?" And she pointed out, well, why would the patriarchy support buying these expensive diamond rings for no reason other than women's affection that is tied to superficial material value? And he just couldn't get past that. He just, no matter how much smug chuckling he tried, he had to comment on that debate and say, yeah, Sargon fucked up. He shouldn't have brought up that topic. That was V, Spin Doctor V, the Romanian who likes to go ahead and defend the Sargon all the time. When your right-hand man says, mate, I think you fucked up. You shouldn't have the ring thing. It's not really a thing, Just try a different angle that one next time, right, champ? When that response happens, you really just should reconsider that maybe debates aren't for you. Maybe you just suck at them.
Now, in the meantime, to the crabs in the bucket, I'm sorry you're stuck on the internet. I'm sorry that nothing exciting is going on with you. And I'm sorry that all you can do is send super berries to your favorite internet neat. Yes, Sargon. We're all jealous of you. We're really aspiring to take one for the team and get a milkshake splattered right in our faces every other week. On top of that, what we're really interested in is being known as the rapey tweet guy. And, making such great, having multiple police investigations, costing the entire political party their future, and having to make multiple videos damage controlling the entire situation. Guys stuck on the internet giving Jim money. They're real jealous of you, man. Really, really jealous of you. But I don't care. I honestly don't care. Guys, he got us. We were played. He doesn't care. All right? Totally doesn't care. He only made a 20-minute video and a 15-minute video and not even a day apart from each other. All right? That's just how much he doesn't care about this. Not bothered by it. It totally doesn't bug him. At night, he isn't thinking to himself, stop making fun of me. Won't they stop posting things on Macau? That's not happening, guys. That's totally not happening. That's not the situation. The things you say just look wildly misinformed to me. And so I'm just sat there looking at it thinking, well, there's no sense to this. I mean, he's right. There is no sense to it, but it's not because people are getting the situation wrong. It's because the things that people say of you are true and we know they're true because they're demonstrably what you do in public. And people make fun of you for it. And you can't stand it. You can't stand it when someone makes fun of you. Not even a little bit. And you have a long history of doing that. It's funny to me. It really is. You were just misinformed. But the thing is, I don't actually want to inform you. Because A, I don't want to ruin my own plans. And B, I think you're a drag on anything that happens. And I know that's what you think about me. But like I said, You don't understand that a little creative destruction has to occur in order for something new to rise out of the ashes. UKIP is not going away.
And I mean, this guy. Defeat is victory. Victory is defeat. Like I said last night, it's Aurelian. That's how he described the situation. It's like he's just defining the defeat as the antonym of what it means. The guy is retarded. He thinks that losing here was a great success. He's not even trying to put a better positive spin on it, like, well, we sure did lose, guys. We made guys, but we should, but maybe if we just reformed our ways and when the guy's, he's gonna make another video, and I think by the time we get to video number 3 on this issue, the reality is going to sink in with his base. His base is no longer going to be able to say that Sargon did nothing wrong. They're going to have to come up with a new line of defense for the guy, because a lot of them are still going to be hardcore Sargonites. But they're going to realize that, yeah, maybe Sargon's kind of sort of overdoing this one. They're going to realize that, and once that hits them, it's going to be bad news for Sargon, because I don't think people are going to let up on this. This is just too funny not to follow.
Away. UKIP is a party of fighters, and they're fighters for British values. And if you think that they haven't been smeared by the media before, you're wrong. If you think they haven't had lower polling numbers before, you're wrong. Only a fool would think that anyone could have beaten Nigel Farage here. Yes, I had to, in the interview with Sky News, say, well, the polls are wrong with Brexit and Trump, because they were. That's a true statement. It's one you can't refute. And
wait, so you had to say it, as in, like, usually people preface that with, I had to say something that was untrue for X reasons, or I had to say something that was misleading for some other reason, but you had to say it because it's true? Why would you have to come up with a justification for something that was true, Sargon? Is it because you were aware of the polls being shit against your favor? Is it because you had a bunch of people maybe telling you, hey, things are not looking good for you, and claiming ignorance is just a way of not having to address that point on live television? Just a hunch, just a little pet theory of mine. But let's let enough of the speculation. Let's continue.
Further information had not yet come out, so what could she say? You don't understand that when you're dealing with these journalists, you're in a fight. It's a sparring match. You've got to go back and forth. And as long as you're saying true things, then you're saying true things. And that was a true thing. That's why I won. We are...
Okay, so he was doing badly in the polls. The polls ultimately turned out to be correct. He lost the election miserably, and that's why he won. And nothing about what his justification for the misleading things he said in the Sky News interview makes sense. It's like he knew he was omitting the truth. It's like he knew that he wasn't acknowledging what the reality is. But he's doing it in like this kind of two-faced sort of way. Well, I kind of sort of had a lie, but it wasn't really a lie, it was the truth. But maybe this is one of those classic lies of omission that Sargon likes to rally about. Because, the guy is a liar. He does like lying a lot.
Of course, going to carry on. We're going to keep getting in their face. I would say that the perfect time to join UKIP is now. This is the perfect time, because...
Perfect time to join UKIP, guys. Farage just got his Brexit party through. He showed outstanding leadership, coming from like basically nothing, having a third party dominate the polls. It happens more commonly to be now. I am overplaying a little bit too much, because that has happened in the past with European elections, so it's a bit different than America, but still, it's an accomplishment regardless. But the big losers in the event, the ones that won no seats when all the other parties won a seat, that's the one you should be. That's the right time is now to join that party. Okay.
Because everything is in chaos all over the country, and it is here too. UKIP has always been ahead of the curve, and we still are. What's frustrating is I don't really know how much... Okay,
all right, so that last statement. UKIP is always ahead of the curve, and we still are. Sargon, you have not been in this party for more than a year. Have not been in this party for even a year. What are you talking about? What is this? We have always been ahead of the curve. You were not part of it until recently, and your reason for joining it was fuck it. And I don't mean like I forget the reasoning. I mean literally his reasonings were because fuck it. There's no other options. That's literally his words for it. Yeah. Like it wasn't his first choice. So what is this we here? And you've been on the record openly stating multiple times that everything old about UKIP has to go and we have to replace it with all the things new. It's kind of like the latest Star Wars movie theme. It's just except it's a political party in the real world. What is with you? Like seriously, like why would you like do people like I wonder if anyone in his comments section called him out. Probably not because it's a hug box down there. Like all the top rated comments are always going to be the ones that praise Sargon. Not going to be a single one that says anything negative that's going to get any attention. In fact, likes to do this thing where he likes comments to hide other more nasty ones. There's my comment here, but it's only rising to the top because, well, that's just the way YouTube works. But if you go in incognito, it's not going to be the top one. However, when you look at this, again, well, this time he's only like the one comment. So to be fair here, I have seen him do in other videos though. Okay, this is actually a good comment here. I supervillain laugh, practicing Sargon. Okay, maybe I was wrong about this one. I guess maybe the comment section might be worth checking out. Mysterious location, fancy and classy setup. Are they making fun of him or praising him? I'm okay with supporting Overlord Sargon. I'm gonna downvote that one because fuck him. All right, that's enough of the peanut gallery though. I'm back to the video.
How much I can say without spoiling what's going on, but none of this is against the plan. This is all advantageous to the liberal activists who are seeking to change things for the better. And I know.
Okay, that's bullshit for a couple reasons. One, firstly, the seriousness of the 20-year plan. Again, I thought it was a meme. I legitimately thought it was just a joke. I didn't think it was anything serious. I thought that either Jim made that up to make fun of Sargon, or Sargon said that offhandedly as a joke. But he's serious about it. He has in his mind, or he's presenting at least, that in his mind, there is this set plan of events that is all going to come to fruition and he's going to make it happen. Okay. And it's going to defeat communism. Okay. And the other thing, more importantly though than that, the liberalists do not like Sargon. You go talk to a liberalist and they'll tell you they do not like this guy. Or at the very least, they're mixed about him. You have some people, you have like, it's like a 50-50 split at the very least. They're not happy with what he did with the liberalist branding, which essentially turned to a vehicle to promote himself and get himself into a political office and power. Now, the liberalists are still liberals. They still have some really dumb, stupid ideas, in my opinion, when it comes to politics. But this is typical Sargon behavior that's not right, where he just takes and uses other people's work and and their efforts and such, and he just absorbs and consumes it for his own self. It's like he's it's like he like that it's like that Murdoch bit where he's like just becoming all consuming, devouring everything. Yeah, that's kind of sort of true. He did that with Gamergate. He did it with the other movements various movements he's been a part of. Just basically made everything about himself. He got to dictate and set the terms. And the reason why he was able to do this is because a combination of various things. He would go ahead and use other people to go ahead and do his dirty work, like Kraut, for instance, and just have enough plausible deniability to go ahead and deny it. And then he'd go ahead and he'd set up little groups and cabals and stuff, and there would be all these kind of mind games and stuff like that, like all these petty little schemes and stuff he has in the background. And he just pervert and destroy everything. That's what he's always done and what he always will, and what he will be doing forever. And yeah, he fucked with the liberals as well. In fact, if I can, I might at some point do I might just blow that whole thing open at this point, because I think there's a lot to talk about there that's not being talked about. And honestly, I don't like it when someone just takes their own audience and exploits them for like personal gain advantage like that. Like, you're gonna go ahead, promise them one thing, and do another. Now go fuck yourself. Continuing.
Know that the sort of foreigners who are watching this won't understand that. I know they won't. But I also know that the
guys, we're too American. We're too American to understand the big-brained intellectual ness of pan-European politics. Us foreigners, think that defeat, a loss, when something is gone, usually more often than not means that that's a bad thing. But apparently, Sargon, in this particular case, or maybe in general, defeat is victory. Losing spectacularly where all your forces are dead, that's the real winner. That's the sign that things are looking up.
YI guys, the other chaps in my Discord, the people who are supporting us on social media.
Okay, wait, rewinding that a bit.
YI guys, the other foreigners who are watching this won't looking to change things for the better. And I know that the sort of foreigners who are watching this won't understand that. I know they won't. But I also know that the YI guys, the other chaps in my Discord, the people who are supporting us on social media, I know you get it because I read your comments.
Okay, so your hug box agrees with you. Yeah, Isalip has a posse of people, of yes men and dick riders and other people, and they're all in agreement with him. He's using them as sources, as the people that are in the know. My friends support me. My friends have my back. They've always got my back. Yeah, okay, man. Yeah, sure. I mean, I just love the way he phrased it. Like the guys in my YI guys and the guys in my Discord, my buds on social media, my tweeps, like all his internet best friends agree with him. What a delusional moron. That's just like, just look at the boldness of this guy. Like, it's like, like look at the camera. Yep, throw that egg right there, right in my face.
I know you understand what's going on. We are actually moving forward in the direction that we want to move in. This is entirely good. We are going to make UKIP a really relevant force in British politics in the next few years.
Hear that, guys? He's so confident about the state of UKIP that he is going to make it a relevant force. And it's going to take him years to make it a relevant force. And that's why you should join the UKIP party right now, today. Don't worry about what Farage is doing. Farage is just doing his own thing. Brexit, that's not really a key issue anymore. I know we're the United Kingdom Independence Party, but leaving the European Union and becoming a dependent United Kingdom, that's not really this is the real goal, is bring classical liberalism into the mainstream in a few years, more or less, maybe someday, perhaps. Trust me, guys. Really gonna make this work. Service guarantees citizenship.
Just watch. There are too many deep and unresolved social issues that the establishment simply cannot touch. It's such fertile ground for us that we have to plough it. We have to...
This is just more word salad, because he just said a bunch of deep-rooted social issues the establishment just can't... Isn't the whole problem, according to you, that the establishment is fucking with everything? Which, yeah, there's a lot of truth to that, as a matter of fact. So what are you talking about? The establishment can't touch it. Of course they can touch it. Like, whatever equivalent of PBS they have over there, like, actually you have the BBC. So, yeah, the BBC actively pushes liberal stuff all the time. Like, another British television stuff constantly pumps out propaganda affecting these matters and influencing the public. I mean, hell, that was one of your talking points, that the media was smearing me. Well, they weren't exactly smearing you. There was a lot of truth in what they were saying. But, let's ignore the details, especially when it comes to... he doesn't think. It's just an enigma. Does not think.
Sow our seed, and we have to reap our crop. However, in order to do that, we've got to break the ground first. And that's what these MEP elections were. I just want to stress that
Yeah, that makes so much sense. If you want your name out there, get your name out there that you are a failed party, that you're a dead party, that you are no more, that you're obliterated. Great going there, Sargon. Real smart.
The importance of these has been massively overhyped. I mean, UKIP didn't get any MEPs. UKIP doesn't want any MEPs.
Do I have to add anything? Do I have to add it? I have to add anything? Is there anything to add here? UKIP doesn't want any MEPs. Why did you run? Why did you run, Sargon? What were you thinking? If you don't want MEPs, why did you tell everyone you were going to take this seriously? Why did you tell everyone that it was going to happen, that this was going to work out, that you should vote for UKIP, that you should get out in the polls and vote? You're actively encouraging your supporters, actively campaigned against the other politicians, including your idol, Farage. Like, this is all stuff that happened. You know what you could have done instead if that was the truth of the matter? Because this is bullshit. This is where the lie is. He did try to win. He tried. He failed. He doesn't want to acknowledge he's a failure, but he failed again. Just like he failed to make a game, just like he failed to fix gaming journalism, just like he failed to actually be relevant in the political sphere in any meaningful way. Well, I guess he's relevant now as the colossal failure, but it's not the kind of recognition he wants. The guy is so dumb.
The whole point of the party was to leave the European Union. Why would we want MEPs? I'll be back in.
That's just. I don't even have to, like, obviously, so you could vote out of the in, because as it stands, you're still part of it. So you have to break away. In order that, you have to be inside to ensure that you're actually able to push Article 50 through and get out. In fact, you were actively saying that get a hard Brexit, no deal options on the table, would be very beneficial for us. Like, only is this guy not? This is like his audience must have the memory of a goldfish, or not pay attention to what he actually says, because he's actively made this line out public.
In a week, although I will still upload content. It'll probably be like this. I'll probably do a couple of videos for my Thinkery channel, just because there's been some interesting stuff I'd like to cover, and I actually have a Wi-Fi signal here, and there's a cat as well. I will be back. Things will be interesting, and we're going to keep going. We're going to keep drawing them out. We're going to get them in the field, and we are going to crush them. And we have all the tools we need to do it. We have all the resources required. We have the backing of people who we need. We have the fan club online, who will be angry when we win. And we'll get to hear the left howl. Absolutely howl. And expose themselves for the tyrants that they are. As I said, I will prove it. But another video about that a little bit later.
Oh boy. Oh boy, there's more. There's more, guys. Gang, we're going to be in for a treat. This is going to be what? This is going to be like a whole new era. I'm just amazed. I thought focusing on this would be boring, but no, Silverstein called it. This is the thing to focus on tonight. I don't even know if I'll be able to get the other stuff. I might have to, like, damn. All right. Okay, so, all right. So what do we learn? What's the hot take, as it were? What was it that we can take away from the milkshake man, as he brags about how no amount of dousing will deter him, no amount of losses in the polls will show that he's failed at something? I don't know, guys. I don't know. I mean, maybe I should take back you know what? I have to take back something I said. I said I hope Sargon would have his channel removed. I can't stand by that. This content's too good. This is, like, not for the reasons that Sargon wants. It's just, this guy is producing too many lulls for me to say that he should be gone. No, let him keep on being delusional. I honestly think that this is even worse than people were saying it as. This guy is really out of his rocker, does not have a good perception of reality, and needs to take a break. I think he needs to take a break, just like Andy did. Or actually, is Andy taking a break? I don't know. I haven't really focused on him the past days. All right, I'm gonna read the chat. I know there's a lot of messages. I kind of paid more attention to the video, so just read off the chat and then call it a night. Okay, so John Candy says, nobody likes Carl for being an arrogant fag that can't take a joke. Yep. Mr. Fribble says, what a delusional psycho, LOL. Sweetie says, Carl is the atheist street evangelist. WW12TT says, has Carl ever really won a debate? I think I answered that earlier. John Candy says the one against Thomas, it was at MythCon 2 years back. I'll have to watch that one. That's not one I watched. I think it was actually, oddly enough, about the Jess Phillips thing. Weird. WW says again, didn't they both just whine each other? Keith Richardson says Pixel Jenny was entertaining in the old days. John Candy says lost against Richard Spencer and Jared Taylor and Mike Enoch. Yeah, he didn't do particularly well against any of them. In fact, kind of only drew against what's his name? No, I won't say he particularly drew. Well, he kind of just embarrassed himself at the end of that one, so I won't even give him partial credit. Went against Andrew Anglin. That was kind of a shit show all around, but Sargon wouldn't even debate by his own admission, so I'm gonna say he lost that one by default. And didn't want to debate him because he can't debate. WW112 says, we held the field as if that was an 18th century battlefield. Yeah, he does have the militaristic in his mind for some reason. If he was able to do that very compellingly, maybe I'd just say it's forgivable, but just cringy. It really is. It's stupid. Mr. Fribble says he thinks he's playing a grand strategy video game. Sweetie says even if debate could change anything, Carl's not the man for the job. WW12 says not even close. Robin Williams says LARP. One letter at a time. John Candy says, I wonder how Sargon will act after the divorce. Don't know. I mean, is he? What I gather from what I hear of the rumors, not all great in paradise for him and his missus. But I don't know. I'm not gonna run on speculation at this point. At least not as far as that goes. WW says, I mean, standing for an election to an institution that he knows nothing about is always a bad sign about someone's personal intelligence. Yep, I think that hits the nail on the head. Sargon does not know UK politics. I think that's evidently clear. Sweetie says his wife needs to divorce him before he's sued and or imprisoned because those are coming. Yeah, maybe. No, actually, well, I don't know if she should. Well, from what I gather about his wife, she's just trash, to be honest. She's a tattooist. She's got the dyed hair thing going on. And she had a kid before she married him. What more do I have to say about her? Like, really picked the lowest tier as far as women go. So you know what? As far as I'm concerned, nah, the happy couple should stay together. They deserve each other. John Candy says Sargon is a bizarre mixture of Dusty Smith, TJ, and Monday Matt. Yeah, he's got traits of all of them in there, I think. Dusty Smith because he goes on about how language is problematic and hurt in various contexts. Monday Matt because he's gross and boring. TJ because he's a degenerate. Yeah, and all of them are atheists. So, as you also add logic, very logical types. That's for sure. John Candy says plants feel pain. Quoting Sargon there. Ultra Mega Anon says dreaming of more dopamine. Accurate. WW says I didn't even use my strong hand. John Candy says, did you guys see that Matt is trying to get into the Soy Father's good graces? I haven't heard from Matt since around December. Last I heard of him, he was on Kraut's stream throwing a tantrum over Ralph. That was the last I heard of Monday Matt. Of course, according to some people, I sound identical to Monday Matt, so I guess maybe I hear from him today in my head. On from that. What the fuck is that creepy smile? I'm pretty sure it's a reference to Sargon. Yeah, he does look a lot of the times. Sweetie says he's got entirely the wrong attitude towards people of labor, covering up Rotherham. It's gleeful. Yeah, actually, that's a good point, really. When you get down to it, I think that's the real problem there, because I don't know what involvement Labor had with that claim that Sargon's making. Like, maybe there's some truth to it, maybe there isn't. I don't know. But why would he be happy about that? Kids were raped. You're right. That is not something that should be like. Yeah. I knew there was something wrong with the way he was saying it, but I couldn't really put my finger on it. But yeah, now I should have obviously should have come to my mind. But yeah, that's kind of disturbing when you put it like that. Like, that's not a laughing matter or an issue, and everyone's been using it as a political point to score against their oppositional political party choice. It's really weird, gross. Mr. Fribble says, genuinely disturbing. The Islip has broken Sargon. Islip life has broken Sargon's mind. Yep, agreed. John Candy says, replace Islip with cocaine, Fibble. Mr. Fribble says, you're probably right. Sweetie says, Colombian marching powder and trans massage parlors is a hell of a drug. Yeah, that'll do it. I'll agree, no Irish, right? Well, no, actually, I'm half Irish, so I don't agree with that. But then again, we are potato niggers. We are the potato niggers, so maybe we deserve to be banned. He's proud to be humiliated and dishonored. That's quite the fetish. It wouldn't surprise me. TJ Kirk literally has a humiliation fetish. So if Sargon shares that trait, yeah, that would make perfect sense. Keith Richardson says, national news, niggas still watch BBC and Sky News. Yeah, apparently. BBC occasionally has okay-ish reporting, and I say okay-ish because it's always going to have it's almost always going to have that liberal lens and that to it. Sky News, I know barely anything about. To me, they're just another news station. They matter. John Candy says, well, to be fair, milkshakes are more pleasant than fish horse manure. This is true, they are. John Candy says, Sargon should debate Godwinson. Okay. Sargon should debate Godwinson. Yes. Hell yes. Those two should debate each other because it would be entertaining as fuck. I would like to see Sargon try to take on Godwinson. I don't think so. I would love to see that. Like, I don't care who wins or loses the debate. I don't care for political scoring points or whatever. I don't care what effect it has on Sargon's career. I just think it would be entertaining to see Godwinson rip apart Sargon. I really do. Like, in person. Like, as in person as it gets online. Or maybe, actually, no. I think they've met in real life. So, yeah. You know what? Someone pitch this idea to Godwinson. Like, send it his way. Tell him, go ahead, challenge Sargon to a debate at one of these rallies he's going to host. Just meet him there. Like, seriously, I'm almost tempted to say I'd pay money to see that, but I'm not going to pay any money to slips, so forget that. WW says, yeah, the American revolutionaries had nothing to say, so they had to use violence because they couldn't win the argument. Good point. That's another thing that I don't like about these civic cucks. Oh, guys, we live in democracy. We gotta vote, guys. We gotta debate in the public forum. We gotta make sure that we get because we gotta do that. Yeah, but if we follow this logic to its conclusion, the very founding of the nation involved war and conflict at its core. It wasn't built on like peaceful negotiations. Like, that didn't happen. The negotiations failed. They failed to the point where they had to take up arms and fight back for what each side believed was right. The crown wanted to retain their territories. The colonists believed that they had inherent. They believed that just because they were born into the kingdom, that didn't mean that they shouldn't be able to set up their own little nations and have proper representation, etc. So realistically, I mean, like, I'm not advocating for any kind of political violence whatsoever. I'm not advocating for a literal revolution, but like, something has got to change with this current system. And I don't think that voting for things and staying within the rules and confines of what we have here as far as democracy goes, just to keep up with current everyday politic, because we have like a civic duty or some gay idea like that, is worth it at all. And I think that you are kidding yourself if you believe that. I think it's a false hope, and I'd rather and like I said before, false hope is worse than doing nothing. It really is. Because you're just going to teach every future generation to keep on following that same false hope. No one's going to bother doing anything to try to fix anything in a realistic manner. Not the goofy Sargon shit that he's doing, where he's just gallivanting. He's doing the same thing too. He's being a civic cuck, thinking that again he can just run for office and I'll fix everything. That worked for James Alsop. That worked for any third party candidate ever. But what about Trump? Well, you see, Timmy, or not Timmy, like the thing about Trump, I don't want to put it like that. I don't want to sound condescending, but really, the thing about Trump, he was always part of the system. He himself admitted he was great friends with the Clintons. He funded them. He funded Planned Parenthood. He funded liberals and Democrats all the time, and other various Republicans and cucks. He and Mitt Romney were used to be good friends with one another too. Then they turned to enemies because that's how politics is. Like, the guy was always part of the establishment system. This idea that Trump, because he carries a different attitude, means he's this radical departure from everything else that came before it, is ridiculous nonsense. Sorry, but Trump is just another player in this game. It's not a case of where he's actually representing you. It's not a case of where he's more authentic. He's not. And in fact, and I've even compared Sargon to Trump. Granted, Sargon takes all the worst qualities of Trump and then combines it with all of his own bad qualities and uses nothing of good whatsoever. Because truth be told, there are good things about Trump. I'm not going to say he's 100% complete. Everything absolutely is bad that he's done. But he's not the answer. He's only a bandit. At best case scenario, and I think that people who are supporting Trump now would agree with this, is he's a Band-Aid. I want something better than a Band-Aid. Okay, that was a really... Room Sweetie says, he couldn't get a tower defense video game. Those tactics and strategy, guys. John Candy says, learn to code Sargon. Oh, man. You know what? If I ever get, like, a Telegram account, because that's the new service he's using, I'm just going to send that his way. In fact, if you're listening, Sargon, that was excellent advice. You should learn to code. I think you're going to need the skill set real soon. Richardson says, domestic global issues. Fibble says, fucking hell, the levels of delusion is off the charts. John Candy says, my wife has been raped. Yeah, you know, just for a second, let's just assume that's true. Why would you bring that up on the campaign trail? If something happened to someone that I loved and cared about, like, being real here, if that ever happened to someone that I knew, I would never, ever, 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 ever bring that up, like a political conversation, or like I wouldn't bring it up. I wouldn't bring that kind of shame and humiliation that person suffered as like a debate point, as a dunk point to win an argument. I mean, hell, Sargon himself has claimed to be sexually assaulted. Why would you use that in the middle of an interview to like try and like, you know, oh, well, he was specifically asked about that, so it's a little bit different. And honestly, I think Sargon's fibbing there, really. But he didn't have to bring up his wife's rape at all. He wasn't asked about that. And even if he was, that's a case of where, why are you asking me a question about my wife? Like, or in just lying and saying, no, that's not the case, or whatever. Like, why would you bring that up in public? That's real shitty behavior. It just shows the other lack of character this guy has entirely. Groom Sweetie says, Carl can't debate the left because he is of the left. He can't debate the right because he doesn't understand the right. Well put. John Candy says, you should do the rest of the stream as V, LOL. You know, it's not that hard to really get the accent down. It's very easy if you know what you're doing. Maybe I will. If I do a stream on V, I might try it. But I'm really getting the pitches of the voice. You gotta really. It's hard to maintain it. Yeah, I think I fucked that last part up. So, Sargon should go back to doing something more constructive, like posting interracial gay porn. Oh man. John Candy says, did he just admit to being controlled opposition? Isn't that illegal? I'm pretty sure it would be. I'm pretty sure there's some kind of law against that. Room Sweetie says, new UKIP leadership will purge Carl and liberalists, maybe. Um, yeah, I know. I remember that there was one guy. I think it was John Hookman or something like that. I probably butchered his name because again, I cannot pronounce anything foreign ever. Um, but this one guy who's running for president of UKIP says he wants to bring the party back to where it was, to the UKIP he remembers, and that would imply that Sargon's idea of getting rid of all the old stuff with new stuff would be pushed out against. And yeah, I think it is if whoever Carl endorses does not win the UKIP leadership position, then whoever becomes leader of UKIP will kick out Sargon. I can guarantee that. If that does not happen, or I won't guarantee it. I'll say instead that will probably happen. If it does not happen, I'll be very, very surprised. John Candy says Sargon is just going to use UKIP as a Patreon. Probably. Groom Sweetie says that's why he ran. Patreon is gone, but 60,000 salary and expense account from being MEP is supposed to take its place. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, I mean, it would pay the bill. Yeah, actually, that does make You know what? That's a good point. Someone should point out the financial benefit of him winning the office, especially since he's struggling. John Candy says, I thought he joined to own check marks on Twitter. Well, he said as much. I love how he likes to flip flop around his various reasons for doing things. Sweetie says his conversation with Mersh and Struggle was very revealing. Oh yeah, I should. Not a very big fan of Mersh and Struggle. Had a few bad interactions with him, but no reason to bring that up. That being said, yeah, Mauritius Struggle did the right thing by having that conversation with Sargon and releasing it. Yeah, good on him. It did show that Sargon is it did show that Sargon was not acting in good faith joining UKIP. It did show that he was more personally invested in his own interests rather than the interests of the party. And it did make people go, hey, wait a minute. Should we really be letting the snake in here? I think that should be brought up again, yeah. John Candy says, no, the 20-year plan was made after the Spencer debate. Jim mocked it. Yeah, good on Jim. Because honestly, it's stupid. Like, why would you ever announce a 20-year something? If you do have a 20-year plan for whatever reason, it just comes off as goofy shit. It is goofy shit. Liberals still exist, asks Mr. Fibble. Yeah, they do. They have a Discord. You can go talk to them if you like. Actually, I have multiple Discords. I've spoken to some in one of them. I don't know how. There is a possibility that in other Discord servers, it's a different attitude there towards Sargon. So, like, I think the War Plan Purple people apparently are still loyal to Sargon. But if you want to go there and talk to them, you can just join their main Discord server. They might relegate so yeah. But if you're asking if they're relevant, they are relevant for the very reason that I said before. Sargon shouldn't use his audience to like build up this activism thing and then shit on it the moment that it starts to look like it won't go anywhere. Like, that's just like, you built this up, told people that, hey, we should be doing this thing, we should be advocating for these principles and ideals that I all taught you and sold you on, like that he built his brand off of. And when I say sold, I mean sold because he makes money off this. And people really, and he just decided to like throw him aside and treat him like trash. So yeah, like you can talk to them about it. They'll tell you about it. John Candy says they still exist as a charity, and then Williamson says to Sargon's fat ass. Ones that are still paying Sargon, yeah, that would be like a charity to like Sargon's fat ass. I don't think, but like I said, the disposition seems to have changed somewhat from their camp. Sweetie says Discord nationalism is his answer. Yeah, like citing his Discord as like agreeing with him as like his basis for why things are okay. I don't know. That just stood out to me. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a fucking Discord server. Gives a shit what happens in a Discord server for the most part. Like, it's not a sign that you're growing. Like, wasn't that shut down too? Like, isn't he on like Discord server number 2? And is he talking about his main one that he invites to everyone, or his secret private Discord with the other e-celebs? It's good. Makes you wonder. John Candy says, who is the most annoying Sargonite? It has to be one of the capos, to be honest. You know, the trouble with this is that if you point out the most annoying capo, they'll just take that and say, haha, that means I've won because I got under his skin. But I don't know. Honestly, they're all like all the capos, V, Dev, ordering. Is there one that stands out? Kraut when he was one. Kraut. What a ridiculous character. I do find it funny that Kraut is now finally like realizing that the rest of the skeptics treated him like shit. Like he's just ripping right into them left and right on Twitter. It's pretty amusing to me. Might go into that, might not. But the most annoying Sargonite. I gotta give it to Dev. Dev is just so smug whenever he defends Sargon. And he does it, and the reason why I think that he's the most annoying one is it's very, very clear he's just doing it to like try to get off. Get off on his fame and clout. So he can just leech off as much of it as possible. Like I think even V has more disagreement with Sargon. Even the quartering has more disagreement with Sargon. Dev is just 24/7 sucking that guy's cock. Like that's the real annoying thing about it. And he's mimicking Sargon's smug attitude where I'm above all and everything. And he just keeps on defending this guy, even when this guy is indefensibly wrong. In fact, didn't Dev do a video defending Milo's comments on pedophilia? Yeah, fuck that guy. Seriously. Fuck him. Gotta say, that has to be the most annoying one. Mr. Fribble says Sargon is creeping me the fuck out. Yeah, Sargon is... Dude. Sweetie says Charlie Sheen winning JPEG. Yeah, Charlie Sheen. I remember following that like back in like 2020. That was pretty fun. Just went insane. Fucking insane. Like going everywhere on social media and other places. Just he was like the first of these like. Well, he wasn't a conservative provocateur, but he was a provocateur. It was an interesting kind of situation. Hashtag Tiger Blood. All right. William says, just shake my shit up, fam. John Candy says, quoting verbatim is smearing Carl. LOL. Yeah, he does that a lot. You quote him and then he'll say you're smearing him. Mr. Fribble says this man needs to be prescribed some antipsychotics. Probably. Sweetie says he's stupid and crooked, not mentally ill. Maybe you put it like that. No, you're right. Actually, I have to say, no, seriously though, yeah, that is the case. It's not that he's like, yeah, I'd say it's, yeah. John Candy says, you heard it here, guys. UKIP doesn't need MEPs. Don't vote for them. Just, yeah. Mr. Fribble says, I don't, dude. I'm getting Looney Tunes vibes from him. Sweetie says, vacation is a desperate last-ditch, vacation is a desperate last-ditch effort from Carl to salvage his marriage. John Candy says groomed is right. Maybe Sargon's wife will do a pro Jared and dump everything on Twitter. That would be pretty funny. Casimir says DSP will outlast all these skeptics. Let that sink in. DSP will be. Look, here's the thing. I am convinced, based on the number of people that have developed communities to shitting on DSP, number of people that have rightly or wrongly gone after DSP and just completely torn into him, and the ability for DSP to still be relevant even as a lolcow or a meme. I am convinced that DSP is the final boss of the internet, and he'll be there pushing buttons when the trumpets blow and the angels come. There you go. That is my take, my only take on DSP, because otherwise I just don't follow the guy, so I generally don't know what's going on with him or what his deal is with that guy. I do remember, although I will say this, I do remember watching a video by what was it? Down the Rabbit Hole on him, and from that video alone, yeah, the guy is a pretty messed up individual. Like, really just he's a skeptic without the politics. I think that's the best way to put it. Like, he's a failure, a loser, guy who uses his audience, his own personal piggy bank to pay his taxes, that sort of thing. Maybe Sargon's wife will do that. Casimir says, chat always wins. Yes, it does. You turn on chat, the chat will kill you. It's happened over and over again. You do not go against the chat, you lose. Like, that should be like, if there's any rules for streamers, that should be rule number 1. Don't go against the chat. Mr. Fribble says, stay back. Sweetie says, Carl's wife would be wise to file divorce now while he still has some money. Casimir says, we'll defend ourselves! Mr. Fribble says, LOL. Silverstein says, if you all caught it, he would have a script. He kept looking down at the table, so either it was from tablet or pre-written speech for the vid. Yeah, I did get that vibe. Mr. Fribble comments on the hard R. Yeah, I usually use the hard R. I'll probably get one day I'll probably get like flagged and taken down, and then but you know, I'm still gonna use the hard R while I still can. The only thing that would change the current system would be a major war between Western powers. That's the thing. I prospects for like change as it's. I'm not gonna say that there's no other solution. Otherwise, like honestly, I don't know exactly what's gonna how change is gonna happen. The only things I know of is that one, the United States, the great American empire. We got to all stay united. We got to get all the liberals and conservatives just work together. Democrats and Republicans, Protestants and Catholics, atheists and normal people, that sort of thing. I don't really see that. I don't see commonalities between a lot of these groups. Like, obviously, Protestants and Catholics, yeah, you could actually say that there's a lot of similarities enough where they can put aside the theological differences and work together. In fact, for most of traditional conservative religious people, they could say, okay, we got to set some ground rules so that way everyone can get along in society. Could feasibly do that, actually. But for everyone else I mentioned, like when it comes to the divide between liberals and conservatives in particular, that's the real divide. That divide cannot be united. You want to unite with people that are in favor of LGBT rights? No. You want to unite with people that are in favor of a welfare state? No. You want to unite with people that want abortions? No. I don't think that we want a lot of those things. I don't think we want to have that kind of unity in this country. California and Alabama are two different alien worlds apart from each other. And even, well, actually, I should rephrase that because I should say the urban parts of California more realistically, because the more rural parts of California are more conservative than the counterparts that are on like the very west coast, which California itself is an injustice in my view, because you have all these cities controlling everything else, and the cities have no interest in the rest of the state. That's disgusting to me. That shouldn't be allowed. Well, I mean, let me rephrase that. That's a very bad situation for California to be in right now, and it's a bad state. And honestly, a lot of what I just described California happens in a lot of other states as well. And it happens across the United States as a whole. Like, what are we going to do with democracy where all these cities of degenerates all swarm together and able to assume so much power and take over what should be rightfully ours and tell us how the rest of us how to live? Why should that be the case? And you want to use that system to help save us? No, I'd rather push back in other ways. I'm not gonna delude myself into believing that me voting for Trump next year is gonna change anything. That matter, unless you live in a swing state, your vote literally does not matter. It doesn't. And this idea that you're gonna vote for Trump to save things, get it? Like, kidding yourself. You are. You really are. Okay. More. Sargon has a Telegram account. Up. Apparently, Carl has, according to Keith Richardson, over 12,000 Telegram followers. Interesting. I wonder how many of those are paid. I really do. Maybe Carl didn't pay for any. Maybe his base just went to Telegram. That's possible. But I find it likely he paid for them because I just got a sneaky hunch that that's what happened. I wonder if there's any way that can Mr. Fribble says nobody mentioned his wife. He just said it to own the libs. Yeah, that's what makes the comment about him bringing up his wife's alleged rape. That's disgusting. That's absolutely disgusting. And like, if Groom Sweetie was joking about Sargon's wife divorcing him. I think that if she ever was to divorce Sargon, if she ever was to break up the marriage, that would come up. That comment that he made about that, yeah, that would most likely come up, sure. Robin Williams says, who cares if they own faggot? They're still a faggot. Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of people think that if you're consistent about your degeneracy, that makes it okay. I do not subscribe to that belief at all. I think that's retarded. And honestly, it just means that then the question becomes, what values do you stand for? Because it doesn't have to be like sexual deviancy even for that by that standard. You could have that standard for anything. Like, I just care about consistency. Well, if you're consistently a piece of shit, you can consistently be a piece of shit. Like, you can murder people, you can steal from people, you can rob people, and then you can do all those things, and then also rape them. Want to swing back to sexual deviancy, and you can be a faggot, you can wear dresses and be effeminate all the time, etc., so on and so forth. You can be a drug addict, you can be a drunkard. Any sin, any wrongdoing can be justified if you're consistent about it, according to a lot of people online. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I bet it would come to a point where one of these people, they'll get their opinion asked on a pedophile, and then the next question will be, and they won't respond with, well, yeah, I don't support, yeah, it's wrong. It won't be a very basic, it's wrong to fuck little kids. It won't be that. It'll be, well, did he ever come out and say he was against pedophilia? Like, was he really being hypocritical? I mean, you gotta really put things into context here. I know he did have sex with that kid, but did he ever really say he was against that? Was that really his consistent standard? You gotta take these things into consideration. You don't want to push your morality on anyone else, do you? I don't get it. I just don't. Like, it's just such another confusing enigma about the internet age where people come to those conclusions. Sweetie says, to be honest, I'm ready for the coming balkanization of America. Got my accordion and Kalashnikov ready. I probably, again, I cannot pronounce anything foreign. You're lucky I pronounced balkanization correctly. I almost certainly butchered up whatever that is. In fact, I'll probably have to Google it later just to understand that other part. But yeah, I do get the reference. I don't know if balkanization will happen like the quote unquote alt-right or the ethno-nationalist guys say it will happen. I don't think it'll be divisions will be upon race if such a balkanization happens. I think they'll happen based on conservative and liberal versus liberal values at the end. Well, values, quote unquote, just don't have any values. I think it'll be based on party lines more than anything else. I mean, it might if the divisions are based on race, I think the United States will have reached a very, very low point. So, but honestly, even if they were to divide upon race at this point, I don't think the United States should be as big as it is because something that Rob Williams says, liberals and conservatives working together is like water and oil. You can shake things up. Sorry about that. Liberals and conservatives working together is like water and oil. Shake things up and force them together, but they'll split apart no time flat. Yeah. Yeah, like that's pretty much it, really. Like, you can't get those two groups to work together. Basic fundamental things between these people not work together. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't gel. And I don't see a solution that involves voting being the answer. Not at all. People who say that's the answer, they probably think capitalism is the answer too. Civic cucks, they need to stop being like that. They're just cucks. Like, really, they're just chumps. What else can I call them? I think they're just delusional. Okay, so a few more comments. John Candy says Telegrams for dog fuckers. I may have read that before, but if Sargon's on it and he's got 12,000 followers, that's probably correct. Well, as far as degeneracy, it's less about being consistent and more about just owning it. Look at Digit Bro and his disgusting lolicon. He was blunt, owned it, and didn't blame it on mental illness. Well, the thing is that, like, when it comes to degeneracy, people have taken up the attitude that if they own degenerate, it's okay. Or certain segments of the internet have done that. But I think most people's inner disgust or inner moral convictions about that stuff, once they own it, they just say, you know what? I don't want to be part of that guy. I just don't like his content. I don't want to be associated with him. Fuck that guy. I think that's what happened to a lot of people with Jay Kirk, for example, when they found out about his degenerate ways of like shoving bananas up his ass and pouring hot burning oil onto his balls, which, why the fuck would you do that? You have to be a sick, deranged person to do something like that. I think that's what happened to, I think that's what's turned off a lot of people to a lot of these faggots that have come out like that. Like, for example, when Jay Caesar was when Ralph was revealed to be Jay Caesar 187, we're like, this guy's a faggot. And they didn't look at him the same way anymore. And eventually, well, and Ralph's fall from grace happened much later, but that was when the cracks began to show. Yeah, the blacked porn. Yeah, that's the kind of kinky shit that Ralph is into. And he made that public himself, and he has only himself to blame for that. John, Mr. Fribble says it's pronounced Kal-in-Shakov. Groom Sweetie adds to that Kal-Ashnikov. I'll work on that. Let's see. John Caddy says, I hate it that people use mental illness as a shield. I agree, 100%. I've called out Worski for that. I really do not like it when anyone does it. If you fuck up, even if it is due to mental illness, the onus is still on you. Like, for example, when it comes to mental illness, okay, so you have certain mental defects that make you act in a peculiar way. Fix the problem. Not get to blame mental illness on not fixing that problem. You can see a therapist. That's assuming they're telling the truth, because a lot of times they assume they have a mental illness, or they're just straight up lying about it. So yeah, no, fuck anyone who uses it as a shield from criticism. If you fuck up, you fuck up. That's it. You don't get to say, oh, guys, I was in a dark place, alright? I had to do the dumb shit I did, alright? Yeah, that is disgusting behavior. Okay, so a few more, and then I'm gonna close things off. Out. Get your Telegram screenshots before I delete them. That. Oh boy. Sharing. Let's see. Is this right? What's this? Oh, looks like this is Sargon's Telegram account. Alright, so I'm not too familiar with Telegram. I just know it because Sargon mentioned that he's been using it. This looks like more or less stuff he posts on Facebook, like Labour Party is quietly tearing itself apart. It's all changed, folks. Well, Sargon, by your own logic, the Labour Party is winning very, very well. Progressives are science deniers. Pass it on. Oh. Yeah. Who's the science denier here? Taylor Swift. What are celebrities known for? Saying stupid shit about science and any other subject matter. Yeah, this based boomer tier bants right here. I saw the fucking Alexander mosaic in Pompeii. Okay, good for you. Pompeii is amazing. It literally is an entire city that used to be, that has been preserved. Walk on the original Roman roads that have wagon grooves in them. Walk through the original brick and stone houses. See the paintings on the Wait, what's he doing in Pompeii? Oh, is that where his secret location is for his vacationing? Oh yeah, that makes sense because of the Mediterranean plants and stuff. Yeah. Oh, so he went to Italy. Why don't you just say you went to fucking Italy? Be careful what you wish for, Labour. And Dale, probably his own. I'm not bother with it. She thinks London was founded in the 19th century. To some Twitter post. Oh, that's funny, Sargon. I thought you said you didn't use. Huh, funny that you're caught lying again. She says from Cambridge. Again, not gonna bother clicking. Since everyone seems confused. Oh, this. Oh, okay. This I read. This was posted on Facebook. Since everyone seems to be confused about this topic, which is an ethnic identity and collection of values that originated after the Anglo-Saxon migrants over 1,000 years. Also, John Cleese did nothing wrong. There's a little bit more context to this, where John Cleese basically said that England wasn't English anymore. I'm not sure exactly what John Cleese meant by that. I could speculate a bit, but I'd have to see exactly what he said to clarify it. Some people have interpreted it as the Englishness of London has been there's been less white people there. Don't know if that's what he meant or not. But what's interesting here is what Sargon is saying here. Not anything that John Cleese had to say, but that he's identifying English as an ethnic identity, a collection of values that were originated in England after Anglo-Saxon migrants over 1,000 years ago. Well, ethnicity is a combination of culture and race, isn't it? Wouldn't that put his position there on the English people, same camp as the alt-right? I don't know. Maybe in this case I'm reading into it too much. But that could be a possibility because I mean I think that's a fair interpretation of what it means, isn't it? But there's also a very real possibility that Sargon's a retard here and he doesn't know how to write. You be the judge. I don't know. All right, and then he's just links a post on something about my tyranny from Metro. So, yeah, your typical how do you do, fellow conservative type posts. Let's see. Back to the chat. There's a few more comments left. I want to get them all. Close the stream because this went on way longer than I thought it would. See if I can find it.
Because, of course...
Sorry about that. All right. There we go. Okay. All right, got the chat open. Mr. Fribble says, Ralph likes his dark meat. I guess you could say that. Sweetie says, in time, John will learn the names and manuals of arms for all firearms of Eastern Bloc. It is his destiny. Well, maybe we'll look more into, Mr. Fribble says, if you're announcing your mental on social media, you're probably bullshitting to cover your fuck-ups. Amen to that. Very important screen cap here. Okay, I am not sharing that on screen. I cannot share that on screen. I am not. Sweetie says John will take up his accordion and I cannot pronounce this. And join us when the time is ripe. And Rock, I can't even pronounce the initiation, so I can't shit. And the Rakia flowed like Sargonite tears. John Candy says, my personal philosophy is to treat everyone that does social media as a job, My personal philosophy is to treat everyone that does social media as a job, as a retard. 90% of the time, you are correct. Amen to that as well. Sweetie asks, limey values, beans on toast, eating kidneys, and nasty tea. Yeah, that sums it up. John Candy says, the fuck are you talking about, Groom? Just came back to the stream. Okay, probably coming for him. And Robin Williams is telling me to back and click on that link. Well, that Robin Williams, he always had such a nasty, he had what a prankster. Anyway, all right, that does it for tonight. Wow, this went on 3 hours tonight. Okay, so I was originally gonna do Originally, this was just going to be like one stream, but I don't know. I'll be doing as many streams of this as long as it's still funny. This is just, I think we're going to be witnessing another meltdown from a skeptic. I mean, I don't think Sargon's going to make a good. All right, so let's see. What can I play us out with tonight? Something. There's one video I wanted to show. Let's see. Okay. All right. I tried to play this on the Monday. That didn't work out because I am a complete total boomer when it comes to technology. You are lucky these streams even work at all and are even able to be broadcast. So here we go. This is Count Dankula, and you'll notice a contrast between him and Sargon. Neither of these two gentlemen take their politics seriously. But the thing is, I think Dankula legitimately does not give a shit at all, and he's just doing it for the lulz. And I don't like certain things Dankula has done. I don't know what the fuck he's doing with that $250,000, but I think you'll get the contrast with this clip here.
Hello. You may have heard, this morning I joined UKIP, the thinking man's political party. As a free speech warrior, it made sense to join the only political party in Britain that is actually fighting for freedom of speech. I'll be able to turn a younger audience onto UKIP and gain them support among the younger people, as well as some other forms of aid.
Easy shekels.
Thanks, Israel. So do what I'm doing. UKIP needs you, and join me in making Britain great again.
got a feeling as time goes on, that's not going to age very well, especially not with that not with that pouch of coins that was passed this way. All right. Good night all. Peace out.